Greetings, everyone. Greetings. I am so sorry. Actually, Titmus, I said I needed 2 minutes while I eat my rhubarb crumble. Yeah, rhubarb crumble. Greetings, everyone, and welcome. I knew she'd come on.
I did nothing.
For those of you that don't know, show Real Talk with Simply Deez, Tuesday, 7th of October. I'm Dee Bailey, producer, director, and interlooper, and judge, jury. Shelley Titmus in the house. Well, I feel like it's been ages since we've been here. So much, honestly, so much has happened. So much has happened, and we'll kind of, as we go along, we'll be having conversations and chat, and I'm sure it'd be really nice if those that are watching share some stuff with us also as well. So without, as I say, further ado, because I think they are in the green pink room, have we got our first two guests? Have we got our first two guests waiting in the wings, Shell?
Bring them up. Yeah, hang on.
Hey, greetings, young ladies. Hi. Greetings. How are we?
So I have never used this platform before, so I don't really know what I'm doing.
Well, you don't need to do nothing at all, Natalie, because we can see and hear you loud and clear.
Okay.
Beverly, we can see and hear you loud and clear. So, ladies, lovely, you know we are streaming. Don't worry, we are streaming live on Facebook and YouTube.
Okay.
Don't you even worry about that, darling. Don't you even worry about that. Now, the show is called Real Talk. Okay, Real Talk is Simply Deez, which is myself. And I don't even know how many years ago I kind of came across and kind of met Natalie, and that was was it International Men's Event? Or International Women's?
It could have been when we were doing All Boys Rock or something. It could have
been. Yes.
I remember you is from. I remember joining on one of these platforms.
It's probably a Zoom. It's probably
Life in a Lockdown. I think it was. Called.
Check. Life in a Lockdown.
Am I chatting rubbish?
No, you ain't chatting no rubbish. No.
Life in a Lockdown. Yeah, I joined.
That is still going.
Okay.
Because even though lockdown was 2020,
yeah,
5 years ago, that is still continuing.
Good.
And so much has happened since then. And I'm going like, by hook or by crook, I'm going to get that young lady, Natalie, on my show. And then we were kind of trying to link. And then she mentioned your good self, Beverly. And I'm like, I want 2 for the price of 1. I want... So what I'm going to ask, so ladies, honestly, this is so informal. You're going to say like, my gosh, you're not on here for an interview. I'm not interviewing at all. All we're doing is having a chat and conversation. Honestly, that's all it is. And it's just a case of, because we're beaming out to the masses, there might be people that ask questions or maybe comment or anything like that. And then I'll just throw that at you and hopefully you'll be able to respond. So if we start with you, Natalie, and then that way then you'll make it a little bit more homely for mum. I don't even know where you're going to start, to be honest. Can you tell the masses, about you, about your journey thus far? And you're thinking like, how long have we got?
I don't really
This is a part 1, by the way. This is a part 1. So don't worry, you're coming back.
Okay.
You're going to be coming back. So Just give us a little something. Okay, I'll get you to peel it back, because we need to know, and this is very important for me, that the audience out there, and myself included, we have a bit of background, your foundation, because for you to be where you are now, nothing's have gone on beforehand. Because if you talk about now, it's going to be, oh wow, she's doing this, she's doing that, she's been through this. But so if I can peel you back like an onion,
Oh gosh,
if that's okay.
Yeah.
She's like,
I'm trying to think. It's only
where to start.
Yeah, now I'm like, wow, actually, and I'm thinking, so a lot of
start school. How was school for you?
For me.
For you.
I have to be honest because my mum's on.
No, the show is called Real Talk, remember? The show is called Real Talk.
I had a lot of, I was very misunderstood in school. My behavior was very misunderstood. But yeah, I wasn't the best student. It's probably why I do so well with young people, but I wasn't the greatest young person I wasn't the easiest student. Funnily
so when
enough,
you say that, I'm going to be interrupting you. I'm so sorry. So when you say that, because obviously there's young, old, there's all kind of people that are listening right now. So what does that mean? Does that mean you were disruptive? Does that mean you were bored? You know, tell us.
My report cards often said Natalie has a lot of potential if she would stop disrupting, have her disruptive behavior. The word disruption was often used, disruptive behavior was often used to describe me. Again, I was misunderstood.
How did you feel when that word kept coming up? Were you bothered?
I didn't, I guess at that young age, I didn't fully understand it. I knew that it meant I wasn't behaving, but I didn't, it was never really sat down. When you're young, you don't really explain what disruption is. Not so much like now. Like when I've worked with young people, I explain what it means. When I've worked in schools, I've explained what it meant, what it means, how you can be perceived, how it can impact you and stuff like that. But when I was younger, I didn't really know. I just thought it just meant like I had no behavior, in short, not realizing that the behavior that I was exhibiting or the behaviors that I would respond to, I didn't realize that my response was actually, in the grand scheme of things, my responding to things or how I would behave was actually impacting the learning of others because I was being disruptive. But I never saw it as that until I got excluded and I realized, you know, my behavior's been impacted. I've been restricting other people from learning. Like that's, it's like, whoa, that's deep. And as I said, I got excluded permanently.
Okay, can I stop you? I want to bring Mum in. Beverly. Greetings. Thank you for joining us this evening. Now, you're listening to Natalie, and obviously you were there throughout this. When this was going on, what were you? Because I know, say, how my parents would be. Oi! Do you know what I mean? I had no detentions, no bad nothing in my nothing.
Okay. Oh, well, I spent a lot of time going to Natalie's school. I am being honest, I spent a lot of time going to Natalie's school. Yes, in fact, I'm the reason that they kept Natalie in school. A head teacher told me, because I was always consistently going in and being there. But yes, she did have I would call it now, challenging time. She herself was challenging. And she used to tell me, it's because I'm an only child. But no, to be real, she was actually very, very bright, and a lot of time, and I learned that through her, that a lot of the children that are very bright, and sometimes they finish what they're doing before everybody else, and they haven't got anything to challenge them, so they would leave them, and then they would all start behaving, disruptively or whatever to get attention. So I learned that, and she was very, very creative and so on. But I do remember one particular time when, Natalie, I'm going to out you. I was supposed to meet with her teacher at school. She was at secondary school. I was supposed to meet with the teacher. I left work, came home, get myself ready to go to the school. My door, and knock at my door, and a policeman
Oh yeah.
was at my door. My daughter. Now, if that was me, I would have made sure that day I was good. I was at school and everything. Not her. She'd gone out with some friends, and they'd gone to, was it Army and Navy, Natalie? I remember it very well.
Okay.
Yes, in Lewisham, they had Army and Navy. She'd gone in there with them, with her friends, and they stole things. And because she didn't steal, she decided, you know, when the security guard came for them, as far as the police was telling me, she just stood there because she think I didn't do anything wrong. But you're guilty by association, because I
Can you
experienced
repeat that again
myself.
for me, my love? Repeat that again. You are guilty.
Guilty by association is what the police told me. But I'd experienced that myself as a young person. Yes.
Yeah.
And because you think I'm innocent, I haven't done anything, but the police don't see it like that. And so when I was there, I'm thinking, she couldn't even go into school on the day she took herself to this place. And, you know, and we had lots of conversation where I would say to her, Natalie, if there's anything I need to know, make sure you tell me now. Don't make me go up there and find out anything.
Show yourself,
otherwise, it's me and you. Yes. I can laugh now.
I'd like to add though, because I think it's very important. When I got kicked out of school and they kept me on, they done a compromise, which I don't know any other people that it happens to, but for me, I was able to. They agreed that I could come into school part-time. So after being permanently excluded, where they literally you're rejected, they wipe their hands off you saying we've exhausted all our efforts on you. They decided for my mum, because my mum was always there for me, they decided to compromise and make me come back part-time, but the other on the condition I had to go centre part-time. Like now it'd probably be like what you would call SEALs 3, SEALs 2, those sorts of things, alternative provision. So I was able to do my GCSEs still and go centre because my mum, because of her consistent support, you know, and it was hard for her as a single parent, but because of her consistent support, that's what helped me to be able to do that and do my GCSEs.
Wow. That's just another indicator of how important it is as a parent to just keep fighting for your child.
Yeah.
Do you mean keep fighting for your child? I've said on this show before, and my son, this is the eldest, who is actually going to be 33 next week. He was excluded in year 10. And bearing in mind, I was a parent governor on the disciplinary committee. Can you believe this?
Yes, I can.
You can't make this up. And obviously, because it's my child, you can't be involved in any of this. You've got to, and you know, they chose to exclude him. And then it was a case of like the education said, like, right, he needs to go to whatever the provision was. And I went there with him. And as soon as I walked through the door, the main door, there's this great big sort of like hallway, and there's a pool table. And I'm kind of like, where am I? And the head teacher, the head guy, he's just walking around. He's not even paying any attention to me. He's just walking around. He's going like, yeah, and there's this room, and he might get 2, possibly 3 GCSEs. Yeah, some of the kids here are tagged, and I'll see you Monday.
Yeah.
I walked out of there not crying. I was bawling. I was bawling because I was like, if I send him there, what do I expect is going to happen? He was doing 11 GCSEs. Now you're going to tell me he might get 2, possibly 3. And some of the kids are tagged. And yeah, I'll see you Monday. And there's a pool tag. That's all I can see. There's no structure. There's no, and I'm like, he ain't going. He is not going. And just like you said, I thought
Yeah.
And he was out of school for 6 months, went into year 11, a new school, and he'd missed a couple of months and still come out with 10 GCSEs.
Wow.
And a couple of A stars.
Brilliant.
So can you imagine if,
Yeah.
but this is exactly what you're saying. If you do not get involved and fight for your child, then who else is going to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you mean who else is going to? I've kind of got slightly off script, but back to you, Natalie. So you kind of told us just a little bit about you now, and I'm thinking, okay, bad gal. That's in my head now.
Yeah. So yeah, that was school. Oh gosh, growing up, I worked with a lot of young people. So I was a youth leader in a church for how many years? Oh, a number of years. I was a youth leader there for working with the young people. And then I started working in a secondary school as a SEN TA. So it was a special educational needs teaching assistant. So I was working with young people that were pretty much going through the thick of it. You know, a lot of them being genuinely, was misunderstood. They were genuinely misunderstood. And some of them just had no behavior. Some of them didn't have parents that had that gumption to really support them or help them in that. So I spent a lot of time working with those young people. And then I eventually became a learning mentor. Then I became a behavior mentor, working through my way through schools and stuff. So I've always worked with the young people who everybody else would wash their hands off, that wouldn't want to touch them because they're on their way out. They're at risk of permanent exclusion. And because I guess it's because I had walked that road, I knew what it was like. And so I decided to invest in a lot of these young people and give them what I thought would have worked for me. And so I had a program, I initiated a program in one particular school called Leading Ladies. Then I later done a boy version called Boys to Men. And that was where I got all the young people, all the young ladies who were at risk of permanent exclusion. I started off with 19 that were, nobody wanted to give them. I could basically take them out of any lesson because no one cared really. And I've done a lot of work with them, a lot of workshops, a lot of getting them to face their behavior. I've done a panel because I use a lot of my experiences because I had to be in a lot of meetings with a lot of adults around me and telling me what I couldn't do, whatever. So I had a panel where I would get people to basically really challenge them. The young person, if they were serious about wanting to change their behavior and they wanted to work with me, they had to face the panel. And all their teachers that maybe had issues with them or whatever, all the teachers would come and challenge them. And I'd print out all their reports for the past 6 months or however long. They had to account for everything. But the greatest thing, there were so many different things we've done workshops. I got them to shadow teachers that they really hated, that they didn't get along with. They had a lot of arguments.
Oh, I've never heard that before.
Yeah, do things that for them to understand what teachers go through, what they do, to understand, have more of an appreciation.
Yeah.
And at the end, they were able to. And when they had that day, they shadowed for the whole day. They had to dress up like a teacher. They were allowed in the staff room, much to a lot of the teachers.
I can imagine.
They were member of staff. You know, when I've done the Boys to Men, one of the young men, he shadowed the principal for the whole day, and the principal loved it. You know, he loved it. And when Ofsted came, they said it was an amazing program.
Yeah.
But the result of that, it started off as 19 young ladies, but eventually it whittled down because some of them just couldn't make it. But the one young lady that I actually had in my mind, who made me do it, who I was determined to do it for, and then the other ones came along, she and about, I'm going to say maybe about 10, maybe 11, they made it from becoming from, at the beginning, at risk of permanently excluded, to becoming prefects, and some of them were head girl and head boy.
Woo!
Proud of that, and Ofsted spoke highly of it. wrote a little bit in the school report and that. So I was really proud of that. But again, that was using things that I felt would have helped me. So if people had sat down and showed me certain things, it could have turned things around. So I was able to use that. So that's why I'm so passionate about making a difference with young people, but now more so about supporting those who work hands-on. I'm more less hands-on with young people and more supporting and training and guiding those who do work with them to be different and support them. That's one area. Another area, but I do a few different bits and pieces. Yeah.
That's why there's going to be a part 2, because you got to go shortly. Mum, I'm bringing you in now. You're going to be coming back again. Don't you worry. Mum, I'm like kind of, as much as I've followed Natalie, and as she sort of said, it was online COVID times, probably about 5 years ago. But just, I didn't know any of what you've just shared. I didn't know any of that. I think that's absolutely brilliant. Shelley, who is the producer and one of the directors of Simply Deez, who you'll probably meet at the end now, has just put absolutely amazing idea. And I can imagine how there's just certain things that you think, like, I hope people are listening, that could be implemented.
Yeah.
Because for things to change, it's got to start somewhere, right?
Definite.
Because when I kind of like sort of like school and all the rest of it and that, there's some changes, don't get me wrong.
Yeah. So
but it's not enough. You cannot be teaching 25 plus kids the same way and expect them all to be thriving.
Yeah. Some don't just, they're not, some are not academic. Some your teaching skills isn't for them. Sometimes there are biases. There's so many different things, but the ultimate thing, however you do it, the ultimate thing for me was my job description. A big part of my job description was removing barriers to learning. So if a barrier to their learning wasn't necessarily academic, but it was because they had a horrible home life, if they were not being able to focus in school because they were worried that when they got home, their alcoholic mum or drug addicted mum may be on the floor, may be dead. If that was a barrier, then I would make myself sit with them and find out, okay, we don't know much about this disease. Let's read it up together and research with them and help them to understand what their family's going through. Because a lot of the times parents don't always, and it's understandable, we don't always share everything with our children. We want to protect them, but sometimes we underestimate them sometimes. So sitting down, because they see the results. So sitting down and doing things, as far as I was concerned, I wanted to remove the barriers to learning. And as I've been often told by always leaders up above me, I'm very unorthodox. I will do things very differently. But if it's something that helps that young person, then for me, it's worth it. It's worth it. They're all different. What would have worked for many young people would never have worked for me. Yeah. Yeah.
Wowza. Oh my gosh. I'm just loving this. Mum, to have produced such an amazing daughter, give me a bit of your background. Give me a bit of your background. Were you born in the UK?
No, I was born in the Caribbean, in Jamaica.
Okay.
Yeah. So I
and how old
came
were
here
you?
when I was 9. I was 9 when I came here. My parents came, so I only have one memory of them. I didn't actually know them. You know, I just had the one memory of them, and it was at a funeral. That's all I knew about them. And then they sent for me, and I didn't want to come because I loved Jamaica. And I had, on my father's side, I had the most amazing grandparents. There was no, they didn't differentiate between us. They loved us. They looked after us. And so all my holidays were spent with them because they were in Kingston, and my schooling was with my mum's parents in St. Anne. So I used to love going to Kingston because all the grandchildren, we would all converge there and we'd all be really looked after. And then when I came here, we were sent for, myself and my sister that follows me, and we came here and we were rejected. We got to the airport and my father came for us. And then my mother she just stood there like she didn't want to be there. And for the first time in my life, I experienced rejection. And then of course, you know, I don't know if where you were born or someone, but then where I grew up in Jamaica, you know, you have the freedom and it was just beautiful. And then I came here and from our beautiful home, and my grandfather had so much land you couldn't walk out. So I had an idyllic childhood to start with. And then when I came here, I don't know if you heard the story, like those days, you know, when people came, especially ones that came over on Windrush, and they would have a room, one room.
Yes.
In this house. Well, I came to that. And I arrived in, it was July, but it wasn't a July that I remember. It was foggy. I saw smoke coming out of what I knew later to be chimney. And it was, the colors were dull that people were wearing and all those things. And I just decided, I was 9, I decided when I'm old enough, I'm going back to Jamaica. I am not staying here. Yeah. And I didn't like the food, spaghetti to this day. I will not eat spaghetti hoops and spaghetti in sauce and that, because I just, you know, all these things that they used to cook, and then whatever they cook. And then I just was really unhappy because I knew that my mother didn't want me. And that really hit it hard. I was 9, but that crushed me. And then my father turned out to be an abuser. Once upon a time, I would be rolling, crying, telling this story now, but that's the past. And so I felt that I used to tell people that they just brought us here to be slaves because we were doing everything. That was great big candle with bedspread with your little 9-year-old hand you have to wash and wring out and that. And I promised myself, and we didn't get new clothes or anything like that, but we had siblings here who were treated like king and queen. So I decided I just wanted to be loved. Yeah. And I knew that I wasn't wanted. I wasn't loved. I was just, you know, my mother decided us as a slave. And then she would, every little thing she would find to blame me. And my sister that came up with me, where I thought that we should have been so close to one another and look after, she joined my siblings then. She didn't, you know, so I was always on my own. I was a bookworm. So I was always in my room. My mother would come at a certain time and turn off the light. And so I would read by the light just outside my window on the street. And I promised myself, anytime, if I have a child, my child is never going through any of this. My parents never came to one of my school meetings, open days, nothing at all. All the other children parents came. Mine didn't. And my mother would always speak negative. You'll never amount to anything. You'll never do this. You'll never do that. And never came to school. And if they had just come to school once, they would find out that I was one of the star pupils in my school. But because I love my school and I love my teachers, so even when I was sick, I would pretend that I was well, just so that I could get out of the house. I hated school holidays because I was stuck in the house. And then being the oldest one, I'd have to look after all the others and, you know, and so on. So
Beverly, sorry, can I stop you for just one moment? I don't know if you guys have seen, there's a lady called Nadine White, who up until probably the last couple of weeks was writing for, oh my gosh, was it The Guardian? I think it was The Guardian. I hope that's right. And she produced, it was last year. Actually, it was the year before. I think it was last year. And it's a documentary called The Barrel Children. And she's been screening it all London and sort of like all up and down the country. It's started winning awards now. And it's very much what you're referring to now, as in the barrel children. So, you know, the parents are over here, might have sort of like children over in the Caribbean, and then you'd probably maybe like send sort of like food parcels or send things in a barrel. And then at some stage you asked for the children to come over, and exactly that, you've come over now thinking like, oh, you know, but they're strangers to you, right? You don't know them. And then if you're coming now to a ready formed family, it's like, well, who are you? It doesn't matter that you're sister, or even the elder. It's like, and feel like an outcast. And as you said, not loved. I can't imagine.
Yeah. Well, she's very loved now. I said she's very loved now.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I'll be honest. For me, because a counselor, I do counseling. And when I was doing my training, a counselor had asked me, And she said to me, how did you raise your daughter, considering what you went through? And it was simply, I decided that all the things that I went through, she was not going to go through that. I was never hugged, and she was a hugger. Oh, God. It was hard to begin with because she always wanted to hug or walk arm in arm, and I had to do it. But it wasn't natural, yeah, as you can imagine. And so she would always want to hug. She didn't want to walk in her pushchair. She wanted her arms around me and so on. And she would always hug me and kiss me and things like that until I grew into it. God no, I needed her. I needed her. And when I see how she worked with the youngsters, and I was really, really proud. And I was thinking, God, thank you. Because my daughter's but I'll be honest, when I found out I was pregnant, I told God, I don't want a mean child. I don't want a selfish child. I want a child who cares for people, who will go the extra mile and be loving and that. And she's all of that plus more. So I am grateful to God for that. And I made sure whatever they were doing at school, no matter how big or small, even though sometimes I'd feel away because I was a single parent and everybody would be husband and wife or partners, and I'd be on my own. I decided there is no way anything that she does, she's going to do it on her own, and I'm not there. Yeah. And so I pushed myself, and I'd go, and then I would push her to do things like ballet.
Hated ballet.
I play organ. Until the ballet teacher said to me, "Please take her."
Do you know
I was trying to live through her, I think, because all the things I couldn't do that I wanted, because I wanted to be a ballerina, yeah. And so all the things I wanted to do, I thought, yeah, if she says she likes something, I would never say to her, you can't, I'd always encourage her that you can achieve anything if you try, except that I would push her in the wrong direction.
Was ballet, and I just like the pump. I just like the pumps, they look cute.
Oh,
yeah.
Ladies, I only because young Natalie, you said you had to go at 7:30. Am I right?
Yeah, I need to go shortly, but I've pushed it back a little bit because I didn't know in terms of time. I didn't know, so I pushed it back a bit. But yeah,
because this is to be continued. So there's so much, and it's for me, rather than have you on individually, I like the way that we can bounce, because obviously you're saying certain things now, and it's great to hear your mum sort of say like, well, this is what was, and like I'm kind of getting a real. You do realise there's a book here, right, Mum?
Yes, yeah.
You do realise there is a book here. Now, I have got a gentleman that I know how I've got him on my show. And he's waiting in the wings. And before he disappears, and I'm going to be kind of like, oh my gosh, but you two, I need to have back on. So Natalie, can we negotiate so that we can get you back on again, so that we can have where you both can be on and we can have more time, that you're not going to be, because obviously if you've got another appointment and that, I don't want to kind of like rush it and try and squeeze in something where I want to take the time to hear the whole.
Tuesday nights is my swimming night.
And the show's only on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
But we will sort something by hook or by crook. Beverly, you don't understand. Thank you so much. I need you guys to drop in the chat just information, because I've got people like going like, how do I get hold of these guys?
Mum,
what are their contacts? Sorry?
I think, would it be possible my mum can briefly just mention the course she's doing? The advancing from healed. Is that okay if she can briefly, because it's as a result of everything that she's been through as to why she does this one, advancing from hurt to healed.
Malik, one moment, sit tight, can't wait.
Sorry, Malik.
Yeah, please go ahead, Beverly.
Okay. Well, because of everything I went through, I spent years being hurt and that, and when you're going through things, you think it's you alone. So I used to pretend to be someone else. I even gave myself a name, all different sorts of things. And then I went through a phase where I just didn't want to live. That was before I had Natalie. She was my reason for living, to be honest with you, why I didn't. But I didn't want to live. So I went through a phase where I decided I'm squeamish and I'm scared. So there's no way I was going to cut myself. There's no way, any of those things. I wanted the most painless way out of it. So I decided that taking some tablets would be the, I would just take it and then I would go to sleep and I wouldn't wake up. Needless to say, I did do it, but needless to say, I am here to tell the story. And so for years, I always knew that somewhere down the line, I wanted to help people, because I used to see people. And if I see somebody hurt, it's like, I've got to go to them. I've got to help them. And my daughter I used to go to work when she was old enough, and she would bring all the young people from the estate. I would come home from work and she would have fed them, because one of the things as well, we never used to have food. Have a lot of food. My mum would lock up everything. And my dad was, well, they passed away, and as I could say, my dad was just useless. And so she ran the house and everything. And so when I had Natalie, I decided that my child was not going to go hungry. So I used to buy things in bulk. So my beloved child used to bring everybody's children who had the slightest issue into my house. I'd come home and find my house full of people, and she'd say, right, Mum, I fed them. You can counsel them now. So I thought I was a counselor. I was giving advice. I wasn't a proper counselor then. But, because of her heart as well, and my heart. And so when I became a Christian, that's when my life started to change, because I didn't have anybody around for years. I didn't even have one friend, because friends had let me down, and I was just a loner. And when I became a Christian, the Bible says that God puts us in families, and I really got a family, and they took over my daughter. I could even pretend I didn't have a child, because she was taken everywhere. She was taken on holiday. They loved her. She found grandparents in them, and aunts and uncles, and they had such an impact on her life and on mine. And watching them caring for my child really did something for me. And I told myself, one day when I'm over this, because I couldn't talk them days, I wouldn't talk, because if I talk, I would break down, or I would sit down I would curl up in a ball and just rock. And thinking that, why me? I'm the only person this has ever happened to. But I used to beg God, please, I want to be happy. I want to be happy. I want to be loved, and that. And he placed me with the
Beverly, I know I'm kind of, I feel like
about the course.
Yeah, the course that you're running.
Oh, okay. Right. The reason that I started to do the course, I've gone through lots of different things, and I feel like I've done a lot of healing where I can help others, and I'm no longer going through that. So with the help of my daughter, we decided to do a course. It's a 4 weeks course, and it's called Advancing from Hurt to Healed. And basically, I share my story and how I went from where I was to where I am now. And it's a 4-part workshop.
The titles each week.
Yeah, each week we have a different title. It starts off, the first one, like the foundation, it's called Facing the Pain and Allowing Yourself to Feel. Because if you don't, you have to recognize the pain, you have to face it. And just like with any wound, when you start to deal with it, yeah, it's scabbed over, it's painful. So it's getting people to face that. Yeah. Then the second one is called Tending to the Wounds. So that's the second week. The third week is Taking Back Your Power Through Forgiveness, because you don't really get far if you don't forgive the people that have hurt you and so on. And then the last one is rewriting the narrative and rebuilding boundaries, because a lot of us, the hallmark with a lot of us when we've been through these things, we have not had no boundaries. We want to please everybody, and people take liberties and all that sort of thing. So that's the reason I've done this workshop. We actually did the first one in August, and we got some really, really good review, because I realized that in the world, Beverly, in the church, wherever, there are hurting people. And so that's the reason behind it.
I'm so sorry, because I know I'm sort of like cutting you short. Where can we, Natalie, can you do me a favor? Drop me the details
I've sent you that.
Is that the Eventbrite link?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay. I will get that shared. Okay. And is that something in person or is it online?
Online.
No, it's
Brilliant.
online. Yes.
Brilliant.
Yeah. And can I just say, for everybody to know, a lot of people, because of what they've been through, they're afraid to come online. It's all anonymous. Even your name, you don't use your own name. We have one name, so you can write, you can spill out everything, and it's all anonymous. So to
Brilliant.
protect your privacy and protect you, so you don't have to feel, oh, that person, now they're going to look at me next time they see me. Yes, I just want people to know that. Yeah.
Brilliant. Honestly, I'm so sorry I had to cut you short there. Natalie,
not at
thank
all.
you so much for your time. Beverly, my gosh, you are a powerhouse young lady.
Yes.
And I would love to have you two. We're going to negotiate and get you back on again so that you can share. There's loads of comments in the chat I can't even keep up with. I can't even keep up with them. But yeah, we will connect soon. So thank you both so much.
No,
okay.
Yeah.
No worries, darling. Thank you. All right. Bye-bye.
Okay. All the best.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Let's go and eat now. Bye-bye.
Oh, wow. Okay, that is part one of today's show. I still hope I have. Now, guys, just before Shelley brings on the young man, which she has done already. Malik! Greetings, young man, greetings. Do you remember being on the show before? Yes, you do.
Vaguely, yes.
Oh my gosh. I was just, before she brought you on, I was just going to say to the audience out there, don't be quiet. Please come with the questions then for this young man, because I even know what to say. I don't know what to say. If I remember rightly, when you were on before, I'm sure it was during COVID times. I'm sure it was during COVID times. And I think you just done the first book, actually.
Yeah, I did my first book about my life in the care system and my relationship with the author and civil rights activist Gil Scott-Heron. So that first book was called Letters to Gil, which was published in 2021.
Yeah, it was literally, because COVID was 25 years ago. So yeah, I knew it was around that sort of time, because I just remember us being online. Now, to the masses that are watching, because we're live on our sort of like on Facebook and also on YouTube also as well. I have to peel back some layers, because for us, myself also as well, as much as, you know, I've had you on the show previously before, is to just get a bit of that foundation so that we can understand where you are now. Where you are now. So I know by that accent, because I know you know a good friend of ours, shall I say, the lovely Anna Rothery. You know Anna?
Rothery, yeah, the former Lord Mayor.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So please tell myself, and you just peeling it back, sort of like, so you were born in that accent. If it's not Liverpool, please tell me.
Do you want to introduce me first so that people know who I am and why I'm here? That would be super.
Yeah. So we initially, as I sort of said, so we've got Malik Al Nazir. Is that correct? Have I said that right? Nasir. Right. That is your current name, and that is the name that you go by. But when I sort of say like peeling it back, I want to sort of like peel it back so that we can bring us to where you are now. So back when you were born in, I don't know, in the 60s, am I right in saying that? In the 60s, sorry.
So there's not going to be a formal introduction then. You want me to just dip in and I'll say what?
Yeah, I need for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
No problem. Okay. So thank you for that. In at the deep end.
Well, yes. I was watching your TEDx today. Please.
So my name is Malik Al Nasser. For those who don't know me, I'm an author, a spoken word poet, care experienced. Currently finalising a PhD at the University of Cambridge in history, tracing my ancestry back through enslavement and colonialism in the former colony of British Guyana, where my father come from. My new book, Searching for My Slave Roots, has just been published 28th of August by HarperCollins, and I'm currently on book tour promoting that new book. So I'm up and down the country. Tomorrow I'm going to be in Leicester. Day after I'm going to be in Cambridge. I'm going to be down in Dorset and Bridport.
Are you coming to Luton?
I haven't been invited to Luton, but if someone invites me to Luton, I'll be more than happy to come. So there's a number of books. If you have a look on my link tree, you'll see a link to the book, and there's another link tree actually, which is malikalnasser/events, and that will show you all of the current events that I've got throughout the country. So basically, that's me. When I came on this show last time, I had just started at the University of Cambridge doing a PhD in history, and as part of my journey, if you like, I was fortunate enough to have an article on the BBC that went viral, which was called "Searching for My Slave Roots." You can Google it, and it's precipitated the scholarship that I got at Cambridge, and also the book deal with HarperCollins. And I leveraged in my Gil Scott Heron book because I was already writing that at the time they approached me. So I managed to get them to agree to let me publish that one first, and then whilst I'm doing the PhD in my ancestry and the history of enslavement and colonialism in British Guyana, I could also be writing this book. So that made sense to me. So that's really the backdrop to who I am and why I'm here.
Malik, what is your birth name, may I ask?
So I was born Mark Trevor Parry, which was my mother's name. My mother's Welsh, she's white. My father was black. My father was Reginald Wilcox Watson. So I grew up as Mark Trevor Parry in the care system when I was 18 years old, and I had the ability to shed that skin, which I really wanted to do because my care experience of 9 years was horrific. I changed my name and adopted my father's name, become Mark Trevor Watson. So at the time when I came out of the care system, my situation was pretty dire. I'd had 9 years of local authority care after my father had a stroke and became a quadriplegic, and my mum was a white woman on a council estate, 4 black kids. Social services moved in, and 2 of the 4 of us ended up getting taken into care. So I went in at the age of 9 and spent most of my care experience being moved from one place to another. The longest time I spent in a single institution was 4.5 years. They had a farm. I spent most of my time working on the farm, not being in class. And subsequently, when I was released by the care system at 18, I was semi-literate. I was in a hostel for homeless black youths in Postgrad at Toxteth. I was given £100 by social services and made to sign a form to say I would never come back and ask for any more. So I was basically abandoned. I'd been completely dismembered from my family. By this time, my father was dead. So I had no sense of myself. I had no sense of family. I had no sense of my history or black history. I'd been brought up on a white council estate and then in white institutions. I thought nigger was my name. I was constantly being told, go back to where you came from, without really knowing where that was, other than the place where I was born, which was in Liverpool. And being made to feel as though I didn't belong here. And I suppose what that did was created a couple of things in me, really. The desire to become educated so I could become literate and, having got educated, be able to seek justice for what happened to me when I was in the care system. I spent years painstaking, researched, self-educating under the mentorship of Gil Scott Heron, who through poetry helped me to become literate. And I used to write letters to Gil with my poetry, and when we go on tour together, he would mark it like a teacher, and poetry became more refined, and the language skills became more, prolific, and eventually I was able to get into college and university, and I graduated from all 3 of Liverpool's universities. I got my master's degree at John Moores, I got my postgraduate diploma at Liverpool University, and I got my undergraduate at Liverpool Hope. And now I'm at Cambridge doing my PhD. So that demonstrated to me that there was never anything wrong with me or my capacity for learning. The problem was with the system that was designed to destroy me. and had done a pretty good job up until the point of 18, considering that they were in exclusive charge of me from the age of 9 to 8, and left me in such a wretched state. So I spent the rest of my life trying to undo that state, and I used poetry as a means to try and kind of exercise, if you like, those demons, and get that negative kind of energy out of me and put it onto paper and work it out, and then be able to be in a position where I could rise above it. So that was really what drove me, if you like, to become a poet. And then I published my first volume of poetry called Ordinary Guy under my name, Mark T. Watson. That was published in 2004, after I spent 10 years in litigation against Liverpool City Council, and for the time I'd spent in care, suing them. And I won that litigation, and I used part of the settlement figure to set up my own publishing company and publish that first volume of poetry.
Don't stop talking. I'm just...
Shortly thereafter, I met the last poets who were mentors of Gil Scott-Heron. And the last poets, half the band were Muslims. One of them was called Jalal. He was known as the grandfather of rap. He wrote the first ever rap album in 1973 called Hustlers Convention. And Jalal inspired me to become a Muslim. I became a Muslim in 1992, and Jalal was the one who named me Malik. So I became Malik Al-Nasser, and I've been Malik Al-Nasser ever since.
Pause. I can't talk. Malik, I can't talk. I really can't. The footballer.
Okay. So, yeah, in 2002, just before in 2003, just before I published Ordinary Guy, I saw a documentary about a black footballer in the 1970s called Andrew Watson. And he had the same surname as my father. He looked like my dad. He had the same surname as my father. He come from Guyana, same place as my father, Demerara, and he looked like me. So I started to think, am I connected to this guy in some way? This is a guy who is now acknowledged as the world's first black international footballer. He captained the Scottish national team in 1881, 82, thrashed England 6-1 at the Oval, beat Wales 5-1 a few days later, and then was asked to come to England to teach the English the passing and running game. This is at a time when in England they used to get the ball and just charge to the other end of the field. There was no strategy involved.
Yeah.
And Andrew Watson and the Scots were part of like a clan system where you're only as good as the sum of your parts, and they would pass the ball, and they had this technical game that was just far superior to anything that was being played in England. So they called him a Scotch professor, and they invited him to come and show the English how to play this game. This is before there was such a thing as a penalty kick in football. And Andrew Watson travelled throughout the UK, playing football for various different teams. He played for Queen's Park. In Scotland, he owned his own club called Park Grove, which is opposite where Rangers play now, opposite the Ibrox. He also played in Liverpool for Bootle FC, the forerunner to Liverpool FC. He went to London, played for the Corinthians of the Corinthian Spirit. He played for the London Swifts. And he's now considered to be one of the most important people in the development of the modern game of football. And because he looked so much like me from photographs from the time, it started me on a journey to see if I could find Andrew Watson and if he was connected to my family. And that has been the subject of an epic journey, which has uncovered this whole tale of slavery, colonialism, plantations, shipping lines, slavery compensation, prime ministers, just an incredible family history, which is all in this book, Searching for My Slave Roots. It really just uncovered a massive sort of new take, if you like, on British colonial history because of the family he was involved with. His father, Peter Miller Watson, was a white sugar merchant who owned plantations in Demerara with hundreds of enslaved people on them. But he worked for a company that was founded by his great uncle in Grenada in the 1780s, 1790s. And to give you an idea, this guy in Grenada, his name was George Roberts, and he died in 1799 and left £250,000 in 1799. A quarter of a million in 1799. There's billions in today's money. These guys own shipping lines and they own insurance companies. They really monopolized the sugar trade. The family became known as like the Rothschilds of Demerara. That's how they were referred to at the time in the history books. But they'd gone really sort of unnoticed in, contemporary colonial history. No one talked about them. I read, I've got the history of Guyana is about that thick, doesn't mention them. The Guyana story, the story of Booker's, the big sugar concern in Guyana, is also about that thick, doesn't mention them. So they're kind of under the radar. But when I looked into them in depth, they're a company called Sandbach Tinney and Co. They are literally, the partners in this firm are literally controlling everything from the world's first press office, the Liverpool News Exchange, to the Royal Institution, which was the foundation of Liverpool Mechanics Institute, which became John Moores University, Liverpool School of the Arts, which became Liverpool University, Manchester Mechanics Institute, which became Manchester University, the Liverpool School of Blind, the Liverpool Collegiate. The family members are among the founders of the Liverpool Athenaeum. Family members are among the founders of the Liverpool Manchester Railway, with George Stephenson and Stephenson's Rocket. They're the founders of the Bank of Liverpool, which became the sixth largest bank in Britain, which was bought out in 1969 by Barclays. And their headquarters in Liverpool became Barclays regional headquarters until 2007. They were the architects of the slavery compensation scheme, which saw money which was supposed to be for the enslaved upon emancipation be given to the enslavers instead. And their family members were the largest beneficiaries, one of whom was John Gladstone. He was the single largest beneficiary. The other, John Abraham Tinney, and the Sandbach Tinney partners, they were the other second largest beneficiary of that slavery compensation. And as many of you will know, that money continued to be paid out in terms of dividends on the bonds for that money by the Treasury until 2015.
This is what you do. I'm speechless. I am. You're still doing your PhD now, am I right?
Yeah, I'm in the final stages of it. Yeah, just doing some revisions to it. And writing that simultaneously with the book. So, kind of like at the moment, the book's just come out. So I'm focused on the book tour, and then as soon as that's over, I'll be finishing up the final revisions on the PhD. I've also launched an archive as well. So if you want to Google it, the archive of the Sandbach Tinney company has been called, it's called the Sandbach Tinney Collection. Tinney is spelled T-I-N-N-E, and it's on Cambridge University Digital Library. And I launched it on the 28th of August, which coincides with the Emancipation Act of 1833, which freed the enslaved. Technically, the beginning of their freedom. It was a process before they got free. But that act received its royal assent on the 28th of August, 1833. So that was the launch date for the book, and also the launch date for the archive. So the archive is documents from the 18th and 19th century relating to Sandbach Tinney and Co., including financial accounts, shipping documents, carte de visite, photographs of these guys from the 1850s onwards. And I had them all digitized at Cambridge University Library and compiled into a collection. And then I've launched that collection free to the public on Cambridge Library. So others who are interested in doing this research can now access them, really high quality imagery. And there's some objects as well for the Bank of Liverpool, like money boxes and things, which have been 3D scanned. So you can even play with the 3D and look around them. So that's on Cambridge Library. So have a look for that, the Sandbach Stadium collection. Maybe someone
Definitely be sharing all of this out on our. Be sharing all of this out.
So that's part of the byproduct, if you like, of the research, because when I was doing the research, I was struggling to get access to a lot of information because no one had heard of these guys. It wasn't like you're talking about Wilberforce or Equiano or, you know, the Zong or something that people know about. This was like a really obscure sort of entity within the history that had sort of slipped into obscurity. You know, people just didn't know about them. So even though there were collections in various different places relating to these people, they weren't fully indexed and catalogued. It wasn't easy to search for them on online databases. None of them at all were digitized and available. And you know what I wanted to do with that story I did, Searching for My Slave Routes, was really show people the significance of these guys, like how they built Liverpool and Glasgow from the money from Demerara sugar and from the backs of the blood of the enslaved, and how they became so incredibly rich, used that to set up all these institutes of knowledge production, these schools, these you know, galleries, art galleries, museums, infrastructure, canals, roads, railways, banks, whole communities, you know, all of the things that people enjoy in terms of the privilege here was established by these guys, all with money that was being extracted, if you like, from African labor in the Caribbean and particularly in Demerara, and Essequibo and Berbice, which was the three colonies that made up Guyana. They were in Trinidad and Grenada as well, but Guyana was the main sort of hub for them, and they made absolute fortunes there. And they, you know, they used that to build these cities here in this country for themselves and for their people at our expense. So, you know, if you come back full circle to me being told go back to where you came from, and then I find I'm a descendant of, you know, the people who built the city and their slaves. You know, and you know, so in that sense, you know, my ancestors' blood paid for the city that I was born in, and my white ancestors, you know, built the city. So you know, I've got this dual thing because obviously they exploited the black women that they owned, and they all had black kids, all of them.
Yeah.
So you find a situation where, you know, almost every family there, every black family in Guyana has some sort of Scottish or Dutch or French or English blood in them because, you know, of what came down that line. So the Watsons on my father's side were from the Scottish Watsons of Andrew Watson, the footballer, his brother Peter Watson, and his uncle William Robertson Watson, whose line I descend from.
You mentioned a brother, didn't you? Did you mention a brother?
I don't talk about my family online ever.
Right.
The fact that I had.
Did you say you had?
The two of us went in care, but that's it. I don't speak about my family members ever. My kids, my family is off limits. Yeah.
That's absolutely fine. Because I was just going to say, in terms of what do they think? That's what I was going to. Do you know what I mean? Ask, as in, like, sort of like from something that I don't know. You would never have imagined. Oh,
I've been estranged from my family since I went in the care system. So you know, like
yeah, that's absolutely. So
different zones, you know.
Is this going to be continuous? There isn't an end to you sort of like learning and investigating more on this.
No, I mean, there's a whole range of other things that I've been doing around this work that you can look up. So I've initiated a program called the Sandbach Project. So you can Google the Sandbach Project and you'll see what I've been doing, working with libraries, galleries, museums, and universities that have collections which relate to Sandbach, whether it's to do with their involvement in the railways, whether it's to do with Andrew Watson, the footballer, whether it's to do with their plantation slavery, whether it's to do with their shipping lines. They were heavily involved not just with slave ships, but they did indentured labor. They were the architects of the scheme for indentured labor, which took Indians and Chinese to the Caribbean and the Americas. They were behind all of that, you know, them and Gladstone. And Gladstone's part of the family. Samuel Sandbach of Sandbach Tinney and John Gladstone, the mother of Prime Minister William Ewart Gladstone, are third cousins. So they're connected,
Yeah.
you know. And then Samuel Sandbach's wife's sister is married to James Watson, who I descend from. So that's how I'm connected in the family tree. So so all these guys are kind of in my family tree as well.
Mhm.
But the Sandbach Tinney project really aims to identify collections which relate to the Sandbach Tinney dynasty, whether those are physical objects like painting collections, marble reliefs, you know, physical artifacts like the Park Grove cup that Andrew Watson was inscribed on it, or like documents, ephemera, you know, like letters, bills of lading from ships, cargo manifests, you know, newspaper articles relating to them at the time, and so on. All of these documents, I'm trying to identify them, have them indexed and catalogued, get them digitized, and then bring them into the Sandbach Tinney collection. So the one I've deployed on Cambridge University, Cambridge University Library's website, is the first phase.
All right. Okay.
There's also a whole collection of about 800 letters
Wow.
to plantation slavery from Sandbach Tinney at Senate House Library in London, at the University of London. So they're in the process of being digitized. There's a whole section of the papers of one of the family members, Thomas Stewart Trail, who wrote the curriculum for the Liverpool Royal Institution, which became like really influential in what we would today regard as the national curriculum. That is those trail papers are at the National Library of Scotland. They're in the process of digitising them. There's the sugar machinery manufacturers who ship the sugar machines out to the whole British Empire, to Mauritius, to, you know, to Trinidad, to Barbados, to Jamaica, to, you know, to all these different places, as well as Demerara. All of their order books of the company Merleys Watson and Co. At the Scottish Business Archives. Some of them are being digitised now. So what I'm doing is I'm identifying these collections, highlighting the significance and importance of them, showing people why they need to allocate resources to them, and then using the fact that we've already got global publicity for this story and these characters to say that this is an important collection. You know, raise some funds if you haven't got some funds, and have them digitized, but do it to these standards, and then bring it into this wider project. I've just met with Royal Museums Greenwich, who have the shipping records of this. I've met with the Royal Botanic Gardens in Edinburgh, who have also a lot of records from these family members. Many of them, even though they were slave traders, they became botanists, because a lot of times they were moving African people to the Caribbean. They moved the crops that the African people would eat as well. To give you an example, when they brought indentured laborers to the Caribbean from India, they brought ganja with them. So ganja is not indigenous to the Americas or the Caribbean. People think it is, but it isn't. It's, you know, it's called ganja after the Ganges River in India. And anyone who watches the Kumbh Mela, which is the big Hindu festival in India, they'll see people with dreadlocks smoking giant cones. And that is the beginnings, if you like, of what came to through the indentured laborers coming to the Caribbean by Sandbach Tinney shipping them over, and Gladstone shipping them over to the Caribbean and bringing with them these plants that these people like to smoke. And that became the foundation, if you like, of Rastafarianism. And, you know, it's the idea of smoking cones and having ganja and, you know, having dreadlocks and those things. And obviously the association is all with Ethiopian and Haile Selassie and all the rest of it. But the actual practice of the Rastafarians has more of a root in India than it does in Africa. And that is primarily because of the practices of the Indians and the plants that were brought from India into the Caribbean during that time. So a lot of these people were on slave ships going out into the interior of Africa, going into the Caribbean, discovering things like ginger, discovering things like quinine, discovering all of these different things, looking at how the native peoples in those lands were using these things for traditional medicines and so on. And they were bringing them back to England, either the seeds or the plants, specimens, to study them. And they created these institutes like the Liverpool Royal Institution to study them, and they deposited them in the botanical gardens, and they created these orangeries and these the palm houses and conservatories in order to be able to try and grow them and recreate them. And then things like the School of Tropical Medicine came out of it, where they were trying to find medicines that would help white people to survive in the tropics so that they could colonize deeper into Africa without dying from malaria and all of these other dengue fever and things that were out there that they had no resistance to in Europe. So you find that a lot of these slave traders became botanists, and a lot of the early botanists and explorers traveled on slave ships in order to be able to get these samples, because that was the only way to get to these places, get to the interior using the local knowledge that these people had on the coast, and then get these samples out and bring them back. But of course, while these famous, botanists and all these other guys, the anthropologists and geographers and all the rest of it, explorers were traveling out on the slave ships, they were all exploiting the slave women on the ships. They were dining with the slave captain. They were listening to their ideas. They were dependent upon them for their protection and security. And then when they came back and they established institutes of knowledge production, they produced pseudosciences, false narratives that actually demonstrated the things that these people would say, like Africans have got smaller skulls and their heads are smaller and therefore they can't retain information. They're infantile, they're animal-like, they're flora and fauna, they're not people, they're not human, they should be property, not people. All of these ideas came about because these people were being plied with rum, with sexual favors from the enslaved people, and provided all this protection and patronage and money as well by the slave ship captains and the slave traders. And they went off then and started these what became colleges and universities and schools, and created this colonialized curriculum which perpetuated all these narratives that they believed in and they wanted everyone else to believe in, which we now know to be completely and utterly false narratives, but they were the foundations of the contemporary modern academic system.
Malik. I don't know what to say. I really don't know what to say. You're incredible. My question: when's a documentary coming out?
There is currently a documentary which is being produced about the Sambat project. So if you look at the archive, let me put it in the chat for you. Just give me a second.
That's okay. That's just me because I'm going like, if this ain't no doc, I want to know why.
So there's a. So this is the Sambat collection here. I'm just putting it in the. Just putting it in the chat. So this is on Cambridge Library. There's a 27-minute documentary on there which features David Olshoga, the TV historian, and basically the documentary was made during a 2-day conference that I co-convened with University of Bristol and Bristol Digital Futures Institute to pull together people who were researching Sambat related things, everything from the footballer Andrew Watson to the Scottish sugar machine manufacturers, plantation enslavement, and so on. Brought them all together and had a 2-day conference. First day was papers and panel discussions. The second day was for museum directors, pro-vice chancellors, archivists, librarians to come together to say, how are we going to manage your collections relating to Sambat? What are the possibilities if we can get them into the digital domain? We produced a virtual museum, so people could put a VR headset on and they could go into the Sambat museum and they could like watch my TED talk, and they could pick up an object and move it around in virtual reality. We also produced like a text message storyboard. So it's called Hello Lamppost, the company. They put these QR codes on lampposts, and you go to the place and you scan the QR code and you get a message to your phone. So this was about the slave ship, the Minerva. That was a San Battistini ship that set off from Bristol to the coast of West Africa to get enslaved people, and then ship them out to Demerara. And if you answer yes, tell me more, it will give you a next. So you get a series of text message, which, depending on what answers you choose, will give you various different narratives about the relationship, if you like, of San Battistini to Bristol and enslavement. So that was, another example of what we can do with modern technology to tell stories in interesting ways to help people to interface with this information in a way that they like. So what the objective was at the conference was really to show these people, look, you've got all these collections. Yeah, you can make these great little stories, and then you at very low cost, you can go out into the locale where, maybe down by the River Mersey or the Slavery Museum, or, one of the places, the Liverpool Town Hall or the Exchange where they sold the slaves. And you can have your QR codes, and people can go on these trails and they can scan a code at that location, and they can get a story about, what was going on with enslavement in that area. So we did one, like a prototype one for the conference. So people in the conference didn't have to go anywhere to get that QR code, and then just answer the questions, and they could receive the stories. So there was that. There was a virtual museum. There was the panel discussions and papers that people were presenting about San Battistini related stuff. Everything from, let's say, the guy from the Scottish Football Museum talking about Andrew Watson, the footballer. There was a guy from Coventry University who was doing stuff about the Highlands and Islands, and during the Highland clearances, when all the Poor Scots were driven off their land to make way for hunting and fishing and sheep farming. A lot of the people who were doing that to them had come back from the Caribbean, rich with cash, and they'd received slavery compensation, and they decided, that they wanted to create, sort of grouse shooting and deer hunting kind of, on their land. They didn't want peasants on the land, so they cleared all the peasants off the land, and they used their compensation money to do that. So how it links in with like Scottish history and other big kind of seismic events there. Other people like National Library of Scotland. We did a project there with young people from marginalised communities in Glasgow, looking at the legacies of Andrew Watson, the colonial legacies of Andrew Watson, and his sporting achievements and those of other Black Scots. And we worked with kids from the community, Scottish Football Museum, National Library of Scotland, the Scottish FA. They took the kids to the football games, let them meet some of the team members online. They were able to have workshops on the colonial histories from myself, from other people who deal with more of the sporting side of Andrew Watson. And then they decided what they wanted to do with all the information. They created a digital map of Black sporting achievements in Glasgow. And that digital map has become an installation at the National Library. So there's lots of different spin-off things. And the second day of the conference was really just working with those museum heads and those archivists and those senior people from universities to say, if you're researching Andrew Watson, you're researching San Battistini, you're researching plantation slavery or sugar machinery or, indentured labor, shipping or whatever, you should have a coordinated approach as to how you're going to deal with the identification, cataloguing, indexing, and then digitization of your respective collections. And then we kind of came up with a concept of producing a kind of governance structure to establish a Centre for Colonial Research that would have a positive action doctoral training partnership that would train 50 Black British and Black Caribbean masters and PhD students to create a pathway, if you like, to develop more Black professors. We put in a £10 million bid to leave a Hume. We got shortlisted. We didn't get it, but we haven't given up on that ambition. So the plan has been developed along with Cambridge University Think Lab. So if you Google Cambridge Think Lab San Battistini, you'll see the report there, all the partners who were involved, what the outcomes of that conference were. and what our action plans are. So that is, as you were asking before about like what's next, that is what's next. So it's the implementation of that. I'll be convening shortly another partners meeting for all of the people who are involved in that, and then looking at maybe a second conference, or a kind of a next step type approach to that. Where do we go from here? But in the meantime, it was really important to flag this history, to make people understand the significance of it, the existence of it, the fact that it was under the radar, that people didn't know this. People thought they knew colonial history, but they didn't know any of this stuff. They thought they knew how Liverpool was developed, how Glasgow was developed, but they knew none of this stuff. They thought they knew how the Industrial Revolution, kind of went about, but they didn't understand how much of this stuff financed that. So this is like a new take on a lot of those things that people thought they knew. But they really need to sort of understand the concepts behind this, because what I've done here is I just followed the money. I got the raw material, the financial accounts, the familial connections of all these people, and I just put it together, and forensically went through it almost like I was doing an investigation, and I put all of that in the book, Searching for My Slave Roots. So anyone who's read Alex Haley's Roots, which was obviously a seminal work in the 1970s, people were really trying to get a handle on like slavery in America, and to understand that from the perspective of Alex Haley's Roots. Although it was a work of fiction, it was based upon the kinds of things that happened, and he created fictional characters and created a fictional narrative. This is Roots, but this is not fictional. Everything in here actually happened. This is all fact, and this is my roots.
How long would you say that's taken to produce that book? How long?
The research has been going on since I first discovered Andrew Watson in 2003, so 22 years. I haven't been fully engaged in doing this research over that time.
Yeah, because obviously,
But I have been developing the family tree ever since then, and the family tree was the thing that really underpinned this. But it was more of a hobby. It was something I just did in the background when I had some time after work or whatever. I would sit down, do a little bit of investigation, see if I could add some characters to the family tree. It became a lot more serious just before the pandemic, when I'd acquired these documents, this tranche of documents, and now I had my own archival sources to work with. I wasn't dependent on running around trying to get access to other people's archives. I had my own archive, and the kind of rich information that it was giving me made me feel that there was something really significant and important here, and I wanted help to develop it, and that's why I opted to start planning a PhD. So I kind of, switched off all my social media for like 3 months and sat down and really thought about, if I was going to do a PhD, what would it be in? Something that I would do if I wasn't doing a PhD, just something to do for fun, for enjoyment, for personal gratification. And this was it. So, when I started doing this, probably 5 years ago now, I did so with a lot more purpose and a lot more direction. And then obviously when you go and do a PhD, it focuses you on very specific outcomes in terms of your thesis. And obviously I got the book deal as well at the same time. So I had to do that all over again for the purposes of the book as well. So it was quite a kind of disciplined approach to delivering this, because I had to eventually end up with a thesis and a book. So that was given the focus I think I needed. But the stories just got bigger and bigger and bigger, and now I'm at a step it's it's too big for me. So that's why I've been far more open with the findings, and a lot of other people have started to research Sam Bextini related things now because of my work. I mean, when that went viral in that article, Search for My Slave Roots, went viral in 2020. I mean, it had 1 million reads on BBC in 24 hours. And it trended as a top article on their homepage for like 5 days, and then it came out in all the major press, and it was everywhere. It was in the Times, it was in France, and it was on TFI. It was in Australia, and it was even translated into Welsh. It was like literally, it was everywhere. So that really started a whole, you know, sort of movement, if you like, towards
Mm.
developing this as a kind of field of study, which wasn't initially what I'd intended. But what it did was it meant loads of other people started studying their little bits of it. And that's why
Yeah.
I wanted to have the conference, because I thought I'm become aware of all these different studies that have emerged from this now. I want to try and find a way to bring them all together and get them talking to each other and coordinate, because it's all part of this one big epic story. Even though some of them are very specific, you know, the football guy, these are football experts who are only interested in Andrew Watson, the footballer. All this other stuff outside of it is peripheral to them. You
Yeah.
know, someone who's interested in plantation slavery in Guyana, they couldn't care less about football, but Andrew Watson is a key pivotal character to that because his dad ran the plantations.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's a lot of things which are just interlinked. You know, I've met people who are only interested in the botany, you know, how these slave traders were doing their botany, and you know, and how, you know, it was important to them, different strains of cane that they could plant. And you know, these guys had come over as farmers, and now they're planting crops that they are tropical, that they didn't know anything about, but they're doing it on an industrial scale. Do you know what I mean? With a massive, you know, slave workforce. So you know, there was this interest in botany that um, involved them so-called discovering plants. I mean, these are plants that Africans and Native Americans have been using for thousands of years, you know what I mean? And they were studying how do they use these plants. And when they saw how they used them, they would then claim them right to the Royal Geographical Society or the Royal Botanical Gardens or whatever, and try to be the first one to say, no one else has discovered this. Can you call it after me? And getting the plant named after them. Do you know what I mean? As a discovery. Like as if, you know, when a white person discovers it, that's when it's discovered. Prior to that, it's not discovered.
Not, yeah.
Even if black people have been using it for thousands of years, or Native Americans, or, you know, indigenous Amerindians, you know, or the Kalinago people of the Caribbean. So all of that other knowledge was considered only useful to extract that information. Once known, it went back to England to become a discovery and to be perpetuated under their name. So there's people I've met who are very much involved in like studying the botany and really trying to address that historical, you know, injustice, if you like, of erasure of the, you know, the black people's role and the indigenous people's role in the understanding of these medicinal plants and so on, and herbs, and the sort of nature of the colonial appropriation of all of these different things. So now what we're looking at is a process of if you like, decolonization. So that's pretty much it.
Malik, thank you.
You're very welcome.
No, thank you is not even enough. The reason, I mean, questions I could have been asking, but you've covered. But I just wanted to hear you. I just wanted the audience to just hear. There's so many different things. And if you do not go and purchase this book, don't ask me for mine. I'm just telling them out there now because they're going, can I borrow? Ain't nobody borrowing my book. I'm going to get one signed from Malik. You ain't borrowing it.
One of the events, where you're based, and maybe I'll come to an event near you.
Luton. I did even, yeah, Luton, Bedfordshire.
I'm in Cambridge on the day after, on the 9th, so that's quite close to Luton.
I know.
So
I know. I have to talk to you off. Yeah. Oh my gosh. So the masses out there, people are going to be like, do you know what? That's something I've always been wanting to do, as in like, you know, do the family tree, do the whatever it might be. And I'm kind of like, oh, should I, shouldn't I? And I'm like, I bet there's something rich history in mine. So what would be, apart from buying the book, is that going to tell me what I need to do? Or obviously buy the book, but where would be the first place for me to start?
If you're trying to find your own family history, the first place to start is the oldest people in your family. who will know stuff that nobody else knows.
Mm. True.
The breakthroughs that I got in my search was not from the archive. It was from people who knew me dad.
Right.
And who remembered little things he said to them before he died.
Wow.
I was a kid when he died, so I met these old men years later, and they said, "Oh, your dad said he came from what's the name, or your dad said he lived here, or your dad said he blah blah," you know. And it was those oral histories that gave me the sort of kernels of knowledge and truth that actually became the ciphers that helped me to decode all this other stuff, because none of that stuff was publicly available.
Mm.
This is stuff that you could have only known if he'd have told you.
Yeah, yeah.
And people who sailed on the ship with him when he was on the ship, so people who, you know, lived with him when he lived in the community before we got moved out to the white area, you know. So there was these, you know, distant family members and so on who interacted with him. So it was those things when I went to Guyana, really trying to find out, do I know anyone? There was one guy who'd said, "Oh, your dad once said he lived in a place called Weldad." So I went to Weldad and I started asking questions of these people and that people, and they found some other guys like 90 odd years old, and then, you know, and then someone was like, "Oh, there's no Watsons around here, but, you know, I'll let you know if I hear of anything." How long are you here for? Like 5 days. 2 days later, I get a phone call. He's in the bank. He overhears two old ladies talking, and one of them asked her, "What's her name?" And they said, "Oh, is that your maiden name?" She said, "No." "What's your maiden name?" "Watson." So he's like, "Ding."
Oh,
you know,
my God.
it turns out she's my 82-year-old first cousin. Her dad,
No way. Oh, my God.
dad in the 1930s when she was 8 years old. You know, and that's how I connected. And then I looked at the land that she was living on that was inherited from my grandfather, and I found parcels of land in my father's name on plantations that were formerly owned by San Bacchini. So it's a whole forensic exercise, but it started with oral histories. The people who knew the people, they're the ones who could take you back. So before those people pass away, you capture that history. I walked around with my little camcorder and I just got these old guys to just speak. Tell me what you know.
Yeah.
Most of them are dead and gone now, but I've got those records. And sometimes I go
Yes.
back and there was something I missed, but it's right there. And I was like, okay, now it's there. And I forgot at the time. I didn't think it was important right at that time.
Yeah.
I captured it. It became important later. You've got to capture those oral histories. People know things. There was one second cousin who had not grown up with her mother. She grew up with her grandmother. So she had stories which went back a generation beyond what even her mother knew.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean? And she was able to connect dots in ways that nobody else could. And the stuff that she put me onto is what led me to understanding more about my own family origins in terms of the white side of the family, the Watsons, the white Watsons. So that's why I would say start with the people who are still here, who know stuff, and get them to remember and recall what they know whilst they can, whilst they're here.
Yeah.
That's the beginning. And then use that as your starting point. And then from that, that'll show you where to look. And then you can start trying to find all the historical records. Because when you start looking at historical records, it's like a black hole. You could go in it and out. Do you know what I mean? There's so much there. But that information, it's there. It'll probably still be there. But the stuff, the oral history that's only here for a very finite time. So you've got to get it while you can.
Somehow, by hook or by crook. So to the masses out there, it's only if there's a demand. If there's a demand, Malik, I'm throwing it out to you guys there. If you want Malik to get himself down to Luton, you need to let us know. I did send an email, actually. I'd love for you to come down.
As long as you get a budget, you know, a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know,
this isn't a free thing. This isn't a free thing. Don't worry about that.
Dude, slavery was abolished in 1833. You know what I mean? Like, only, you know, my word, like you would pay everyone else. You know, particularly universities and stuff. They're like, oh yeah, can you come and do a talk and it'd be great and do that. What's your budget? Oh, we haven't got no money. Oh, so you want me to pay to go to you.
Yeah, no.
Walking in the shop and going, oh, you've got great stuff here. I'll have one of these, one of these, one of these. And then you get to the till and you're like, well, I've got no money.
Yeah, yeah.
You just wouldn't do that, but people do tend to do that with.
No, I understand, and I wouldn't be. No, that wouldn't be the case at all. Oh my gosh, what's her name? Bianca Miller.
Never heard of them.
Who I don't know how many moons back was on Alan Sugar's The Apprentice, and she came second. That lady, she came second, and this was back however moons. This has got to be at least 8-9 years ago, and I got her and her husband Bianca Cole. She's called now Bianca Cole. They're kind of London based, but she kind of lives in Dubai at the moment. But yeah, we will talk. My people will talk to your people, as in me will talk to you. But Malik, thank you so much for your time. Guys, please give it up for Malik. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, I don't even know where to start with all of this. I'm going to watch this tomorrow, play back, because you've dropped nugget upon nugget upon nugget. There's so much. Please, guys, go out and get. Where is this available, Malik, the book?
My Slave Roots, published by the William Collins imprint of HarperCollins. Available at Waterstones. It's available at all good bookstops. It's just come out, so it's like should be available everywhere. You can get it on Amazon. I just say, if you read it, drop a review on Goodreads or Google or Waterstones. Because those reviews really do help.
They do mean a lot. Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much again for your time, Malik, and we will catch up soon, my love. Thank you. All right, bye-bye. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Okay, you masses out there. Shell, do you understand why I'm speechless? I don't want to talk. I want him to talk. I don't want.
I was finding the links, and I just got myself stuck into reading it. I was like, hang on, no, there's a show.
Yeah, there's no way you can't.
There's on that archive and on here that they'll put the different links in on the chat. On the archive and on the BBC write-up that was on there. There's a hell of a lot of information on there, and it is, as I put in the chat, it's really scary to think that these names that come underneath that have been helping out these businesses and stuff just get swept, get pushed aside. It's like, oh yeah, you helped us, yeah, great, thanks. And that's helped pay for this and set this thing up.
It's a history that they don't want you to know.
No.
It's the history
that thing with the QR code, I can see with the amount of information that's actually on that archive. If you was to, as you're walking around, say for somewhere like Liverpool Docks,
which is where we went earlier this year, and we've been to the slavery route. Do you remember I was on the picture with Anna? Yes. I think it was and we went there, and do you know what? The thing's closed. And I'm going, you are kidding me. And it's closed for something like 4 years. And I'm like, what do you mean? So you're thinking, are they transferring it somewhere else or blah, blah, blah? Yeah. No, it's closed. So you haven't got access.
Yeah. To actually have like a museum that you can see tangible things, I can understand that. But if you used to have permanently up the QR codes on particular buildings, particular dock areas, that, oh, this used to be so-and-so. And give you just a bit of information, and then you can then say, yeah, I want to go on more. So you then go into like a full-on website that goes through some bits and pieces. Because I love local history. That's what makes the places. Talk about my mum. Mum lives down in Weymouth, and it has kept its original history. There's enough old generation kind of stories that go through, and it's one of those areas that you do get these kind of. I mean, it was the first place ever that the Great Plague came into the UK because it came off a boat. and into Weymouth. So you've got all those kind of stories. But if you're going around locally, you actually see things and they put little posters up and they do stuff. Or for the kids in half term, they'll do a little booklet and it's like, oh, go and find these places and this is what the story is all about, kind of thing. For somewhere like Liverpool, you think that you would see stuff like that, but you don't. And I've always, I would much prefer history at school to be local history, like stuff like that, rather than what happened all those many years ago. All right, you need to know where you've come from, but you don't need to go that far back. At what point do we get more recent history in schools than what we learned 30, 40 years ago? But when does it change? When does it change?
Exactly. And getting that book, I'll take my, oh my God, Searching for My Slave Roots. Have we got any more guests?
We've got Stefan, but it's showing as device is not connected. So I was just going to say that if they can hear that, I don't think your camera's connected to the thing yet. I don't know what you need to, whether you have to come out and go back in again. I'm not sure. It's still showing he's not actually doing anything, so I don't know. Have you froze, Dee? I think Dee's frozen. Oh, this is now great. I don't know whether you can hear me. Should I send you a message? This is like Radio 2, where you kind of like you have problems and you have to keep talking.
So I've just sent him a message.
Oh, now I get it. Sorry.
Yeah, I've just sent him a message saying, I'm going like, oh, please don't lose myself. I said like, we can't see you, so I don't know whether or not.
Yeah, he's in and back now. Do you want him on?
Oh, I do. Oh my gosh.
Put yourself up.
How you doing?
Oh my gosh. Are you that?
Mama D.
Greetings. Look, Dee Bailey and Stephen Bailey. Yes, everyone. You didn't know I had another son. Yes. How are you?
I'm good. Sorry about that. I don't know why.
Don't you be worrying. You're slightly low, unless it's me.
I'll try to turn myself up. Is that
better? That's better. That is better. Guys, to the masses out there, you need to understand how difficult it is to get hold of some people, because when they move up in the world, they don't want to know you. And this young man, I've been trying. Do you know what I mean? I said to Jordan, I've been trying to get him on the show, try. But he's a busy man. So this is how these people stay. You see that? Who dat? As it says, Stephen Bailey. Now, you've not been on the show before. You probably ain't watched the show before, but that's your own fault. The show is called Real Talk with Simply Deez, which is moi. We have the young lady who was on just now, who is not only is she the producer for the show, she's also a director in Simply Deez. So she is a VIP. Now, Stefan, she's just messaged me to say that we are at, in terms of viewers, because remember, we are live on Facebook. We're live on YouTube. How many?
Cool.
999,000 viewers. What are you laughing at? And we just need you to tip us to the 1 million marker, Stefan. No pressure.
Cool.
So we're going to have a little chat, a little conversation, see what's going on, what's happening in your world. But before we start with what's going on now, we've got to go back.
Way back.
Way back. So, where were you born?
London,
I
Northwest
knew you
Park
weren't going to
Road.
be a Lutonian.
Yeah. How could you tell? Yeah, Northwest. Grew up in Wembley.
Okay.
Yeah, so
How
kind
was
of
school?
family and everything is in and around Northwest London. Some in South London. So yeah, went to Wembley Manor.
Okay.
And then I moved up to Luton when I was about 10. My dad, mum, I think just moving out, you get more for your money. And
Yeah.
I think as a young black boy, kind of growing up in certain areas, I think they wanted to kind of take me out, where I guess stuff was kind of getting a bit rowdy, I would say. Yeah, and just to kind of safeguard me, I think that was their fault. So
You're not an only child?
No, I've got two sisters.
Older, younger?
Two younger sisters.
You're the eldest then?
I'm the eldest. Yeah.
Oh, okay. No pressure.
A lot of pressure. Well, I've got the
I was
shoulders
just
for
going
it.
to say, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we came up to Luton. Went Halliard. Used to be called Halliard.
Oh, okay.
West or Chalk Hills now.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, so grew up in Luton most of my younger years.
So how was school for you?
School was good. I liked school, actually. I enjoyed it. Bit lazy, but had a good network. I was always respectful. I didn't really get into trouble. I was one of the ones where you just fly under the radar. So,
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Just enough to
kind of, nothing like that. But yeah, I'm a big believer of kind of just building positive relationships with people. And I guess that kind of worked for me in school.
Okay. And what were your subjects? What subjects did you enjoy doing? What did you pick?
Drama, PE.
Did you really?
Yeah, drama. I love drama. I wanted to be an actor. That's what I wanted to do. Leaving school. But I was fortunate enough to kind of get a scholarship. Well, play for QPR, Schools of Excellence, and then get a scholarship, and then go on to get a pro. So yeah, but I've always wanted to kind of be in the arts, be on stage.
Okay, let's peel it back just one little piece there. So you got scholarship, you got whatever, football. At what age?
So 15, got my scholarship. Not scholarship, I got assigned for QPR. I actually went into London to play men's football.
That's massive.
I was trialing. Luton asked Luton to give me a trial. They said no. Went to Peterborough. I was going to Northampton, all these different places. No. But then my godfather, he had a team in London, and he told me to, come down, come train, come down and play. You'll have a couple of scouts to come watch. I'm 15 at the time, bear in mind. Played, and yeah, got scouted by Reading and QPR. Went down to Reading. I picked Reading because Reading were in the Premier League at the time. They asked me to do a trial game. Within 5 minutes of the trial game, went up, came back down, twisted my ankle, tore my ligaments in my ankle, and they were just like, well, come back when you're fit. I'm sitting at home, 6 weeks holidays, foot up. 2 weeks in, QPR rang and just said, look, just want to know how you're getting on down at Reading. I said, well, didn't go well. Done my ligaments in my ankle. And they said, well, if you sign for us, we'll get you fit. And I was a bit like, okay, because that's not really heard of. That's why you have medicals and so forth. So they must have seen something. So I was like, well, yeah, I've got family in London. So signed. And then, from there, went on to get a scholarship. And then made my first team debut at 17. And then, signed my contract the following year, of professional contract.
So at 18, you are a professional footballer for QPR.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So where's your head at 18? In my head, you're like, no, there's cloud 10, and then you're above cloud 10 at that age.
You're in a little bubble. You're in a bubble. I think when you're in a bit of a bubble. It's just like kind of mostly, even like with the entertainment business. If you start from young, you're in a bit of a bubble. Yeah. I honestly feel like if I'd gone to work first and then had the opportunity to play football, you'd appreciate it a lot more.
Be more grounded. Yeah. Totally agree. Yeah.
But even that process in itself, I had a friend, and so I talk about it with a lot of the young people that I kind of work with. Life's about choices, and you make a choice and you got to live with it. And sometimes it's about mitigating risk and looking at the bigger picture. And sometimes you're in a moment, you don't think about it, and you just go with your instincts. But sometimes you just have to stop and think. I had a friend who was supposed to come with me to that same game I got scouted for, and he was someone that I kind of looked up to in regards to football. He was amazing. There was two guys I looked up to when I was growing up, and I thought they were incredible. But my dad's been very present in my life, my role model. He was definitely been there for me from young, but he's also been there for some of my friends as well, who didn't really have that kind of father figure, kind of taking them to football and stuff like that. So they appreciate him as much as I do. I guess he must have seen something in this young person for him to turn around and be like, come, I'm going to take you. I'm going to take you with us. We've got an opportunity here. Got people here coming to watch. This could be a breakthrough. He was a year older than me. He was better than me. My dad could have been like, you know what? He's better than you. I'm not going to take him just in case he makes it and I don't. He was very much no, it's meant to be is meant to be. That Friday, so we were supposed to train on a Friday. The scouts were coming on a Saturday. Got a call from him Friday, kind of daytime after school. It must have been about 4:00. He rang and he's just like, you know what? My ankle's injured. I'm not going to come. And I'm like, you haven't done anything. Like, you was training on Tuesday. Just come.
Yeah.
And he's like, no. My dad took the phone and he spoke to him and he said, listen, just calm down. If you're not going to play, you know what? Show your face. Come get some treatment. At least you know that tomorrow, if you do play, you're not putting anyone's kind of nose out of joint. And he said, and I could hear the hesitation. And he was like, no.
Something else was going on.
To find out later on when I was on the way back, I'm seeing messages. Oh, did you hear what happened? Did you hear what happened? And he was that person that people called when there was a problem. So I guess he felt like he had to kind of be somewhere to
help
someone. I guess protect people, help people, or kind of live up to a name. I'm not too sure. But I thought to myself, if I make it, he's definitely going to make it because he's better than me. And I was gassed and I was excited at the opportunity of both of us kind of becoming professional footballers coming from Luton. To find out that evening that there was an incident down at Fair Park. And unfortunately, he was involved. And he ended up going to prison, which is unfortunate. But this is why I talk about choices. So he had a choice. He's a great person. He's a great person. It's just a bad choice, wrong moment, just being around the wrong people at the wrong time. And I speak about that to a lot of the young people that I kind of work with, and about making choices and about opportunities are few and far between.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's having that person in your life that could be like, nah, do you know what? You're coming this way. And he's doing well for himself now. He's come out. He's doing well. But those are the choices. I could have been doing that and going. I would have been there. But I had an opportunity and I decided to take that. So yeah, it's life's about choices. You just gotta make the right one as much as you can. But yeah, from there I kind of went on to play professionally. I enjoyed it. It wasn't long. It wasn't a long career. I had my fair share of experience kind of with racism. I think that was the first time I actually experienced racism, and that was actually from my manager before I left.
Really?
Yeah, and I think that was like the tipping point to why I fell out of love with the game. So he was an Italian man. He didn't speak a word of English. He had a translator. And what he used to
hang on
do,
a minute. So he's your manager, as in, you, the team, 11 to however many people there are, and the manager doesn't speak English, so there's an interpreter relaying what he's saying to you guys.
Yeah. And there'll be times where he'll kind of use me, try to banter and use me at the butt of the jokes, and he would pick up like a blue bib and kind of put it up to my face and kind of laugh it off. Or then the next session he'll come and pick up the blue bib, kind of put it up to my face, and then he'll say something. He said something to the interpreter, and the interpreter was you could see he was very uncomfortable with some of the stuff.
Yeah.
And I think it kind of got to like, I don't know, maybe like the third training session, and he kind of done it. And he said, tell him. And the guy just looked at me and he's just like, no, I can't say that. And he actually pulled me and he said, I'm really sorry. But I didn't know, to this day, I don't know what he said. But for the interpreter to turn around and say, and apologize, I just knew that, what? Yeah. And I thought from then, I was just like, I don't want to be here. I kind of just lost the love for the game after that. But I wish I had, I guess, someone to kind of be like, because my dad's always been there, but I guess his experience in the game in regards to maybe someone in the game being like, don't worry about that, boom, keep head up, let's do this, that kind of mentor. I didn't really have that in that network.
Can I stop you one moment, Stefan? Because we got a whole heap of time. And remember, there's people watching. I want people to comment, and because Jordan's from the football world, and obviously we got wrapped up in that football world, and unless you're in a football world, you don't understand. You think you understand, but you really don't understand. It is a whole, I can't even explain it. It's something else. You're a commodity, aren't you?
It's a different
You're
one.
not a person. You're not you're a commodity. And is it, if I can imagine sort of like Jordan, as in like when you're passionate about football and you live and you breathe football, and then let you be the person that no longer wants to play football because you just have fallen out of love with football, not because of somebody else or something else that's going on that then switches you to then fall. That it breaks my heart.
Yeah, but look,
go on. Sorry,
it is what it is. Obviously, there's politics and everything.
Yes, I know.
This person's getting paid this much more, so this person has to play. And there's times where players come back. He's been out for 7 months, and he's come back and he's straight in the team. And look, there's politics and everything, and I guess all you can do is just try your best, and it's a little bit of luck sometimes. If you've got the right person,
elements of the
right manager that kind of believes in you, listen, it could work out for you. But there's been many players that have been brilliant players, amazing, just haven't had that longevity. Making it as a pro is hard. Maintaining it is even harder. I guess that's in most things, acting, everything. You could have that one breakthrough, but kind of maintaining it is, that's where the real hard work is.
So for me, because I know a little bit about the football world, so you're sort of like, I don't know, however long into your pro contract, and I'm presuming life's kind of good and all the rest of that jazz that goes with it. And then when this happens and you you make the decision to come out of it, how was that for you, as in mentally, as in friendships, as in, I mean, did you have the same friends you had when you were playing than when you weren't playing?
I think I had my friends, but what it was, I was kind of out. I was out the way. I was in London quite a lot. So I was kind of focused on my football. So I guess those friendships kind of were there, but I was just kind of focused. And I think you have to be like that for you to be successful in anything you're doing. You have to make that sacrifice. But people would probably see it as in, oh, you don't have no time for me, this and that, when really, actually, I'm just kind of focused on my goal and my dreams, because my dreams are the same as your dream or anyone else's dreams. My success is not the same as your success. My success for me is like, you know what, having food in the fridge and having heat. Do you understand? So it's like, I was out of the way. I was out of Luton. I was doing what I was doing kind of in London. So when I came back, kind of people, you kind of see people for who they are sometimes. Like, it's what you can do for them.
Yes.
So, but I've got good people around me. I've got a very good network of people around me. The ones that kind of filtered off for a reason. So I guess you're in a position, you try to please everyone. And obviously, the older you get, you realize what's a priority. And your closest, your family. Yeah, that's your priority. And obviously your mental health and your mental state as well. Because I was in a good place off the back of that. I didn't go into training for like 6 months. So I was just sitting inside Yemen Donuts, the Krispy Kremes, whole pack, 12. I wasn't in a good place. And I think they don't really prepare you for after. So people, if you get injured or it just doesn't work out, there's nothing to fall back on. They don't prepare you for that.
This is what I wanted to kind of, as we're talking about it, as in like kind of like highlight. It's hard enough anyway, isn't it? As in like, what's the percentage of, you know, all young boys want to be footballers, and then you kind of get there, and then everyone's thinking it's all glam, which it isn't. It is, and then going from that to then, I don't know. Did you? Yeah.
I don't know what I did afterwards. I've done so many jobs. Saying that, I really stopped playing when I was 20. I say probably 24. Really, when I stopped playing to the point where I had to work. So I was playing like lower leagues, but I was still earning a wage where I didn't really have to go and work. So so then the real work kicks in, and then I'm like, what do I do? What am I doing? What am I doing myself? What do I want to do? I've worked in as a metal engineer. I was just pressing metal. Boom, press, next one, press, next one. And I was like, okay,
this isn't it.
And don't get me wrong, I appreciate the opportunity. And they offered to pay me to do qualifications and kind of move up. But I was just like, no, this ain't for me. I went into care work. I've done care work with like social care, doing support work. Not for me. I worked in a bar. But these things, when I say I kind of worked in a bar, I was like, okay, I want to open up a bar one day. Let me go work in a bar. There was always something.
Yeah.
There was always a bigger plan. There was always something bigger. And then I kind of went on to, in that time I was playing football, we used to do community work, kind of going into schools, going into hospitals. And we're seeing young people, one that don't really, not having role models again. Young kids that were in hospitals that weren't going to come out. They'd be lucky to see Christmas, and we're going in there giving presents and so forth. That made me want to work with kind of young people. And I guess the situation with kind of what happened in the past with football and actually being a role model, and actually having my dad there being a role model for me, I wanted to be a role model for other people as well. So I kind of went into that path and working in an alternative provision. My sister-in-law's company, she set up a company. She thought I'd be really good at it. And we kind of built, well, I was there from the start. And then we kind of built a brand, Shine Learning Centre. Just working with vulnerable young people, or young people they're not, school's not for them. School's not for everyone, but we know that education is. So it's just kind of finding their passion, finding their motivation to kind of, and just looking at learning in a different way, rather than just kind of, just sitting behind a desk and then getting in trouble.
Do you know what? I don't plan, because Shelley, who's a producer, she's like, oh, we got on. And I'm like, I don't know. And when you watch this, if I'd like you to watch it back, at the very beginning of the show, we were talking to a couple of people, and we ended up, we're talking about her school, blah, blah, blah. And exactly that, she got kicked out of school. We're talking about alternative provision and what she kind of does now, and some work she's been doing in some schools, and yada. And the fact that you're now talking about it again, it's like it's all been planned, and it wasn't planned because I didn't know you were going to come and say what you're saying. But so that's been going about, what, 11 years? Is it 11?
10 years. So it'll be 10-year anniversary. 10. Yeah. So even like it's very rewarding. So we had a call maybe 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, and it was a young person that was involved in gangs, like between Milton Keynes, Bedford, Luton, and London. And he called up and he spoke to one of our colleagues. He just said, "Thank you. Just want to say thank you for all the support you've given him." And he's an apprentice engineer. And so when you hear things like that, it's like, like there's been some real case studies where they've kind of gone on to do really well, and people have written them off, and all they need is just that support, the belief that they can be the best version of themselves at the end of the day, and that's what you can try and support them to do. With all the safeguarding, with all everything that's going on, you try and give them a safe space, but not just a safe space, but a brave space that they can feel comfortable to talk about what's going on, to talk about how they're really feeling, to say what's going on that's affecting them, that blockage from them learning and receiving that education. So we provided that space. We do provide that space. Well, yeah. So it's 10 years. I'll be moving on from that next month. So yeah.
You're no longer going to be at Shine?
I'm no longer going to be at Shine. Breaking news. So I don't think
so what are you going to be doing?
So me and my wife set up a property business. So and yeah, we've set up a property business. We're working on service accommodation, but also providing investment opportunities for people. And I think, again, with football, I think that's been a motivation for me to kind of help footballers, and not just footballers, but everyone, find kind of alternative income. That financial literacy, I didn't have that kind of education. So I'm now surrounding myself around those people, entrepreneurs, like multimillionaires in property, and helping people find strategies to find that kind of extra income and passive income, but also providing a quality space, providing a quality space for people to live as well. So there's a lot of landlords that don't really invest in their property or their tenants. So it's, yeah, I like to work with people that invest in people. And if you've got landlords that have got properties that, you know, we can help them provide quality accommodation for people and just educate them and just kind of push them to, help others. But also I want to provide investment opportunities for young people that do have the capital at the moment, where I had the capital to kind of invest in something. I didn't do it. And I wish I had someone to be like, okay, look, you could put your money here.
That's what you do. Yeah.
You know, focus on your football, focus on your passion, and you've got this kind of fall back on. And I think that's one thing I did have. I had a lot of pressures on me financially as well. I felt like I did, and I just wish I had that to kind of focus on what I was doing, and that would help. That would have helped me. And that's what I want to do, and that's why I'm doing it. I'm taking that step because I love acting. I want to.
Well, excuse me. You've kind of bypassed that, and I'm thinking like, hang on a minute, hang on one doggone minute.
Yeah.
I did see you. I don't know. Was that this year? It was this year, wasn't it?
It was this year. Yeah.
Time's just gone so fast. I can't even keep up. So, in the meantime, this young man does this, does that, and acting. Is this Aaron Fontaine's acting classes, acting school, club?
Luton Acting Hub.
Yes.
I started there actually, and it's amazing. It's an amazing space. I was working with a young person. Yeah, I was doing. In the holidays, you do these little trips, and you kind of take the kids away. And there was a young person. He had a disability. He was on crutches, and he wasn't in my cohort of young people that I was kind of looking after, but they tend to swarm to me, and I'm sitting there and I'm talking to them and they're asking me questions because obviously they knew I played football. And he was talking. I said, listen, don't let anyone say you can't do something. Within reason, let's be realistic with it as well. But don't let anyone tell you can't do something. You might not be a professional footballer playing in the Premier League with your disability, but whatever you're passionate about, you can go and do it. If there might be football kind of disabilities or something like that that you could go into, or whatever you want to do, just don't let anyone say you can't do it. And he turned around and he was just like, what's your passion? I said, acting's my passion. And he said, okay, so you do acting? I goes, nah, I'm too old for it. Bearing in mind, I'm like, 25 at this point? You're on mute. Yeah, so I'm like,
okay.
Yeah. So I'm like 25 at this point. I said, I'm too old. He's like, how could you be too old? And he said, well, you're always going to need an uncle, a brother, a son, a dad, a granddad. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, yeah, you're right. And then the penny just dropped for me. And I'm like, I'm there trying to motivate you and you're there just switching it up on me. That's always stuck with me. It's always stuck with me. So Aaron, like you said, Aaron Fontaine, he set up a Luton Acting Hub and he needed a space to run the session. So I said, you could use Shine. And we was in town centre at the time. So I came just to open up, do house rules, safety rules, and so forth. And look, the toilets are down there. Okay, so we go this way. And then I'm sitting there and I'm watching. Bearing in mind, me and him were in the same drama class when we was at school. He wanted
Oh, really? Oh.
Me and him were like, yeah.
Okay.
And then I sat there and I watched it. And I was like, oh, okay. And then the second session, the second week, I sat there and I watched it and I was like, no, I've got to do this. I have to do this. So I got up after the session. I goes, I think I want to do this. He's like, what? Yeah, come, 100%. In the next session, I done it and I didn't stop. I don't think I had a break for like maybe 2-3 years straight. Definitely about 2 years. And this was like COVID time. Yeah, this is the back end of COVID time. And I haven't stopped since. been training. Don't get me wrong, there's times where he's had time off, but I've been so focused on that. Just like football, I think I locked in at about 14. I said, you know what, I'm going to take this serious. By 17, I made my first team debut. In my head, I'm like, okay, it's just going to be the same process. All right, I'm going to take this serious now. So I'm like, 3 years. It took me 3 years to play first team football. My goal is to get an agent. So I'll give myself 3 years. 3 years later, I got myself an agent. So hopefully, yeah, it's a numbers game. But
watch this space, people, because you see, this is how things work. So Jermaine, Jermaine. You know I'm talking about Jermaine. Can't remember his surname. So we do International Men's Day, and Jermaine come along from Directional, come along and supported for many years. And
that's Jermaine here.
Yes. And
I've got
this
my kids.
Is it?
Yeah.
See, that's why you always got to live good.
I thought you were going to say, what were you saying about him? What were you going to say?
So this year, this one time, I think it might have been 2019 actually. So he'd come with whoever he came with each year, and this year he's come with Aaron. So anyway, they're there, and you know, we've got people talking and God knows whatever else. And then we've got it somewhere. So Aaron then Jermaine sort of said whatever he said, and he's going, I'll come with my friend Aaron, and he's like, next minute Aaron's up there, and he's going like, well, when Jermaine said about going to some international men's summer, he said he told him he was busy. And when he told him it was Marsh Farm, he goes, Marsh Farm. He goes, you're mad. He goes, is it all right there? Are we going to get, is anything going to happen? And he's like, whatever. You know, Jermaine sort of like put his mind at rest. So he's there, and he got up and he sort of said what an amazing event it was. And he was telling us a little bit about his background. And he was saying how he wanted to give back to his hometown. And he was going to open the Luton Acting Hub at some stage, yarn. And then obviously it's all come to fruition. I've seen sort of like some of the stuff that you guys have done. I came along on whenever it was this year. And what was it that I came and watched? I can't even remember now. You know what I'm talking about?
Over a Barrel.
That's it. Yeah. So well done you. So don't forget us, you know when you're big time and you're like older, yarn. Don't forget us. Don't forget where. No, I don't think you would. I don't think you would.
Yeah, the next project we're working on at the moment is called Richmond. So I'm looking to film that end of the month before I go on holiday. So yeah, watch out.
Holiday? What were you on about holiday?
I need a break, man.
I hear you. So when is that likely? Is that going to be like next year or?
As in coming out, as in.
Yeah.
So I need to. I'm not too sure. Too sure. So there will be another screening for it, I'm sure.
No problem.
That's what he said, at the same place. So
yes.
Yeah.
Factory.
We'll see. I definitely want to produce something myself. Direct something myself. So I'm in talks with a couple of the guys at Luton Acting Hub to produce something in our hometown. Hopefully it'll be a two-day show.
Okay.
Then, yeah, I'm planning to direct a short film, a very short one, but yeah, I really want to get into the space. I'm excited.
Nice.
Yeah.
My gosh. How old are you? Can I ask?
I'm old, you know.
Do you hear that, everybody? He's old. I think you did say.
No,
35. Did you say 35?
37.
30 what? Sorry?
37.
No, you're not.
Yeah.
Oh, 37.
I think I lost count.
You see what I mean? These people that knock off their years and then forget how many they've knocked off.
Yeah,
You're just, yeah. so much, and I know there's going to be so much more. Stephen Bailey, watch this space, everybody. So people want to get involved and know more about the Acting Hub. Sure, Shelley, producer, could put some information in the chat. But if people want to get hold of you, I mean, the work that you've done, contact, whether it be with Shine, whether it be the property business, whatever. Comments.
On LinkedIn, kept me on Instagram.
Is it just Stephen Bailey?
I need to change it. It's a bit.
So I'm saying.
Yeah, but it's like typing Stephen Bailey, but it comes up. It's S1 Bales on Instagram. On LinkedIn, Stephen Bailey. So my business is Bailey and Ramsey Properties. So yeah,
we're not related, guys. We're not related.
Yeah, so
we are.
Yeah, I'm going to continue doing the mentoring. That's definitely something that's a passion for me. So I do kind of want.
I was just going to say, as in sort of like, because obviously it's a totally different hatch, shall we say, and field that you're going into. But in terms of sort of, there's so much that you can still give if you can find the time and everything else like that.
No,
for young people.
I plan to open up a division in Bedford and Luton, focusing on football. I'm doing football education, so that's a kind of a passion project for me, kind of later on. So I'm definitely going to be going in and doing kind of one-off. I do training, staff training as well. Trauma-informed practitioner. So I kind of
because kind of think to see you in schools and obviously giving, not outdated. People, it's like the kids will be like, oh, it's like you've lived certain things, you've breathed it. It's not a case of you've read it somewhere or this is what so and so and so and so said.
No.
You're telling them from lived experience.
Yeah, lived experience.
Certain things, yeah.
People I've worked with. Obviously, I've been going into schools and doing outreach work for the last 2 years. Kind of moved away from being in the centre to try and reach as many young people as possibly can. Kind of working with on grief and gang affiliation, all sorts, mental health. So there's loads. I'm a man of many hats. So
Can I ask? The current climate that we're in, and the young people, what are the factors that you would say are leading to certain kinds of behaviour and the paths that they may be going down? Does COVID play a? When I say COVID, you think, okay. Does COVID play a part for so many years? Interaction. I don't know. What did young people do? They weren't in school. I don't know. I'm hearing that there's quite a few that haven't gone back to school since COVID, but are in no kind of education.
There isn't, and no, and they're flying under the radar. And I think there's just not enough staff within the local authorities to kind of deal
monitoring.
Monitor and kind of deal with kind of trying to get the young people back in. I think, COVID's obviously had a major factor in kind of that social interaction. So, look, even to my kids, they're on the tablets. They want to come in and run on their tablets. I'm like, nope, go outside, go kick a ball, go play outside. I do give them time on their tablets, but some of the young people we were working with, so they don't want to get out of their bed. They just want to sleep on their phone. I think social media is a massive factor to kind of a lot of the issues that are kind of going on. But also having people kind of take them out. So what I used to do with my outreach work is actually, I'm a big believer in that social mobility and taking them out and actually taking them to places that they might not experience. I took a cohort of young people out to QPR. I'm still in contact with them. They gave me free tickets. One of the kids, he was in awe with the train because he hadn't been on a train. I think he said he was on the train when he was 2. He had never been on the underground. He's never been so close to me. The whole time I've been working with him, he was like up on me underground. He was scared. But I'm giving him experiences, and I think these are the things that we kind of need to do more. And that's why I'm kind of a big believer in kind of role models, kind of doing positive work, just like the people that you had on earlier, the amazing work that they're doing. I think we just need to, obviously there's not a lot for them to do in the spare time. A lot of youth clubs are obviously not there no more. So that's some of the stuff that I used to do. I think we just need to kind of continue trying to get them out doing things, trying to find their passion, but actually getting to know them. And I feel like within schools, they spend a lot of time in school. So for staff,
more time.
So for staff to have that education, they're teaching the kids, but you know what? Some of these teachers need some teaching themselves in regards to how to deal with young people, and just that interaction, like meet them at their level where they're at, that cultural background. It's all these things. It's not just book, right? You have to get to know the young people, get to know who you're working with, because that one person that might be troublesome actually might be dyslexic, and he's just avoiding trying to deal with that issue. He doesn't want to look stupid, doesn't want to feel stupid, so he'll act out. Is it stuff that's going on at home? Is it someone? It's crazy, some of the stuff that's kind of come out, especially with someone external coming in where they can actually talk. I just feel like some training around with staff. Look, it's hard. Being a teacher's hard. Very hard.
You couldn't pay me enough. That's the truth.
My missus says the same thing, but you can get it right. You can get it right. And all you have to do is just build that rapport, build that relationship, and get to know the young person and meet them where they're at. So, and just be trauma informed. Like, you don't know what's going on. And granted, staff don't know what's going on, because they won't have the full kind of intel.
So as a teacher now, or I'd be saying, where am I going to have the time? Where have I got the time? I've got 20 odd kids, and then you're telling me I need to have that and I need to have that, and there's just not enough time.
But it's just being curious. Sometimes just asking a question. Every interaction is an intervention. You just don't know whether
I love that one.
That you saying, "Are you okay?" could be like, "Ross, you've seen me. You see me."
Yeah.
So
you see me. Yeah.
I'm just a big believer in kind of I even with the young people, just show respect and try your best. And I feel like if you just kind of just be curious, ask questions, and just show empathy, I think our world will be a bit better. Will be better, yeah. So I don't road rage no more. People are like, most is like, you're so laid back. I'm like, I'm not dying of stress. That's one thing I'm not going to do. And I go, is it worth it? And we go back to those options and picking up options. Like, I could get into it with someone, or I could go home to my safe space, because I don't know where that interaction is going to take me. So, but then for some people, home is not their safe space. So it's finding it, again, like Shine is a safe space for a lot of young people. School is a safe space for a lot of young people. But we just have to continue to be curious, and just be empathetic. Because someone that's lashing out or swearing, it's just there. It's a form of communication. It's a form of communication that something's happening or something's happened, and they're just communicating in their way. And I just don't take things personal. Just don't take it personal.
Stephen Bailey, you'll be coming back. Will I? Yes. I'm going to get you back. Thank you. Honestly, thank you so much for taking, because I know you're busy, because all the stuff that you've said that's going on, you probably missed out some of it. But yeah, thank you for taking the time out and just sharing just a little snippet of you, what you do, what you're passionate about. I do hope that those that are watching, I tell everyone to share. When I say share, it's not just for the sake of likes. It's a case of, you can guarantee by people sharing, there's going to be somebody amongst their contacts or whoever that sees it, there's going to be something in every show or anything that we do. There's going to be something in there that, I'm so glad you shared that. Because of that, I now, maybe they've changed something. Maybe they talk to the young people differently now. Maybe there's whatever it might be. Maybe they want to start acting and decide to go to the acting, whatever. There will be something in this show for you. So, yeah.
Well,
thank you, young man. Make sure you give me all the details. Make sure you give me free tickets. Yada, yada, yada. I'm Bailey too, remember.
Yeah, we've got our service accommodation in Finchley, North Finchley. So give you a discount. So if anyone's here and they quote D Bailey, yeah, I'll sweet a little discount.
Hey, do you see that, people? You hear that? You heard it here first. All right, Stefan, thank you so much. And say hi to all of those that you work with at Shine, and also your missus as well. All right.
Love.
All right. Thank you, darling. Take care. Bye-bye. Oh, my giddy arm. Do you know what? It's actually fizzy water I've got in here. I don't even know what to say. I forgot to tell people to put. I forgot to tell them to put on their seatbelts.
I did mention a couple of different places of strap in. It's gonna be a ride. Always is. But to start
off, I never know how. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, well, it's just exactly what you're now going to say. It's like you never know what's going to happen. You start off talking about provisions and finding a different way to teach and to mentor the kids, and then exactly same at the end. And what I was saying, as I put in the chat last week on the Simply Together show, when I was talking about autism and the stupidness that came out of Trump's mouth, that things like dyslexia, autism, ADHD, and some of the changes in kids nowadays, because they're used to having things straight in front of them all the time, that their learning is going to be a little different now to what it was quite a few years ago. And you've got the kids that are going through, that have been through COVID, that have only learning they were getting was on a computer. It's difficult to come back out the other side and go back to a normal teaching kind of thing. It's just a different way of approaching the situation. That's all it then needs, rather than telling the kids what to do. It is
coming with a different and understanding that,
and just engage them. I mean, like, you could have the naughtiest kid, as Stefan was saying, like the naughtiest kid in school. It could be because there's stuff going on at home. It could be that they've got dyslexia and they don't know what they've got. You've got to understand what's going on with them. It could be they can't see properly and they get glasses, that they're slightly deaf and they don't realise. All of those kind of things, if they're not picking up, they're not engaging, so it comes out in different ways. Yeah.
And I'm sure kids now are still coming out and not being able to read well, not being able to, what was NGL? Somebody put NGL. I thought, what's NGL? Not gonna lie, I'm like, out. Everything's what? Because that's how they speak, isn't it?
It's either got all the different letters, or it's got a completely different word for it now.
Yeah,
someone
and you're
said
like, what?
something, and I was like, sorry, I'm going to be old funny, but what does that mean? And they say it, and I went, oh, so it's like that, what we used to call it. Oh, right, okay.
Madness, madness. We got time. So Tishi's poem, please.
Yes.
Yay!
Yes. She said that I could pick one. It was one that she sent to me on Friday that she's just done.
Okay.
But I wanted to share this one because it's a really positive one. It's a really positive one. It's called Finally. After years of trying to figure out what I want in life and what my purpose is, I have finally found my answer. And I am now comfortable with the uncomfortable. I'm finally feeling like my true self. I'm finally feeling confident in myself. And I finally feel confident enough to start chasing my dreams and finally taking chances. I'm finally ready to take on the world. Now that I've finally found myself and I love myself, I finally found my voice and I'm finally saying what is on my mind. I'm finally in a place mentally where everything is clear and I'm finally putting myself first and I'm shutting out the negative thoughts and people. I finally use my past as a fuel to make myself stronger and I am finally thankful for my past because I wouldn't be the person I am today. I finally love who I am becoming. I absolutely love that when she sent it to me.
Fabulous, Tishi Thomas. Whoop, whoop. You guys have got no idea. No idea.
I did. I've forgotten what I said to you, Tishi. When she sent it to me.
Love that.
Wow, watch out, world. Tishi's coming out.
Love that. Absolutely awesome. We could continue to chat, but I'm like, voice is gone, just getting over a cold that I need to shift.
Why would that be?
Yeah, we ain't going to talk about that. We'll talk about that off, but not on. Purely. Anyway, let me think. There's so much stuff, guys. So much. There's so many things that are going on. If you follow us, which you should be, and if you hadn't noticed, we share so many things that so many people are doing. We don't just share our things. So it'd be really, really nice for you to share our events and the shows. Cecile, Nikkei, Shelley every Tuesday are hitting hitting the waves. Loose Women have contacted me. I said no, they're not available. Our viewing figures are higher than theirs. Envy. Envy. So that's every Tuesday lunchtime. This Thursday we have got Life in a Lockdown community Zoom, 7 till whenever that is. I tell you what, I'm honest, I'm bulldozed by tonight, and Malik could just listen to him for hours upon hours upon hours upon hours.
Yeah, please do go and visit some of those links that we've got on there, because they, even if, like for me, I wouldn't have anything come through there, but it's such amazing to look back on personal stories, those that have then have been left, those that have not been pushed as far forward as they should have been, because they have been part of a history that's then going forward, that it just doesn't get publicized,
recognized. Yeah. Yes. And do you know what? I actually couldn't get him on last month. So he actually said this month, bearing in mind it is Black History Month. And I thought, what a wonderful, with all of what he was, this is something that's not just Black History Month. This is all year round. The book's coming out now. I am going to get a copy. I'm going. That book looked bloody thick, didn't it? But so much, so much. Searching for my slave roots, and that's Malik Al-Nazir, and all that information is in the chat.
And it's one of those things. I mean, he's highlighting it. Our friend Angel highlights it when she's done her Black History like museum, if you like. That there's so many stories and names and backgrounds that you don't realise. Just where it all then comes from. And you really do want to start showing some of those people that are sort of that like go back to where you
just
came
the
from.
inventions and just things. Like,
all those kind of bits that they have actually been part of. They've invented and
there's so and stuff even myself went like that's why we say share. So I can't even see because I'm on my phone all those people that joined us tonight and all, do you know what I mean? I don't know, were there a load of comments? Were there a few comments?
Yes, there were a few comments that came up. And then we always get our replays as well, so make sure you do comment if you do a replay.
Definitely.
And if you've got questions for any of the guests that we ever have, we have always forwarded them on to the people that have had come on. So if you're watching on catch up, then you
we will be able to do. Definitely. It's 10 to 10 and one has to get up early in the morning. Oh, before we finish, as we're finishing, only because I just hit that high note and it's just reminded me of something. So last Monday, we have our Embrace Luton Women's Wellness Support Group, and it's at the Irish Forum. We're upstairs, and this guy let me in, and I'm being so friendly because that's what I'm like. So I'm like, what's your name? He said, Ken. I said, hi, Ken, what are you doing downstairs? And he said, karaoke. I said, you what? He said, oh, we do karaoke here. And we have done for however long. And I'm like, no way. So that's why I had to record it live. And I'm like, I might. I said, if I come down later. And it's like, yeah, do. And I'm like, I will, because in my head I've got Shelley, Cecile, and the other like, don't sing. So anyway, so it's finished and that. So I've gone downstairs, and they don't get lots and lots of people there and that. And there's only him and another guy that were there. And so I said, hi, Ken. I said, Ken, do you know what? I said, I want to have a go. And he's like, what do you want? Pop, rock? And I'm like, reggae. Reggae. It's like, who do you want? And I'm like, who's he likely to find? I'm like, Bob Marley. He's like, hang on. And then if you see me doing I said, if you could film it. So I can't remember I don't know, it's like a Scottish song that was playing. And I'm going like, that ain't no Bob Marley.
It would be an Irish song. The Irish Forum.
Yeah. But I don't know what he pulled up on a thingy and I'm like, oh, that's not Bob Marley. And then he's like found it, and so and they were like, oh, you're ever so good, Dee, you're ever so good. I said, thanks, Ken, thanks. So I was full of a cold, and naturally if I had more of an audience, I'd have been bouncing around, as Shelley and others would have seen, like Zebedee. So that was just so watch this space is all I'm saying. Watch this space. Shelley's going like, oh my giddy aunt. I'm going to have a word with Ken.
You're going, who was at the karaoke? They've got some really good singers down there. They really have at the Irish Forum. Wow.
So we big up the Irish Forum, don't we? We big them up. They do amazing work. So we are going to finish off because, yeah, got some stuff to do. It's been an absolutely incredible evening. So many thanks to Natalie and her mum Beverly, who are doing some incredible work in the community. They will be back because obviously that's a bigger journey that needs to be shared. Don't ask me how I got him, but I will be getting him back again. He doesn't know it yet. Malik. And if you Google and you saw what he spoke about tonight, if you go and look him up, you'll go like, how the hell did she get him on the show? I asked myself the same thing. So for that gentleman to be on here for the period of time that he's been on here, people are paying some serious money for what he shared with us tonight. Oh, you'll just say, okay, go and have a look and read up a little bit more about him and what he's done and what he's doing and all of that and all the stuff that Shell's posted in there for us to find out more information. That's why we say share, because it's like, oh, it's own, I'm not interested. I bet if you share that, there are people, oh, I'm so glad you shared that. That's stuff that they can be sharing at schools. Yeah. Right now, schools are like kind of like, who's it? Oh, we've got no material, we've got nothing, we haven't, oh, before we knew it, it crept up and we've not done this, we've not done that. As a young person, you share it with your school and ask them. You'd be very interested to know. Actually, Trish, if we know anybody else in schools or what have you, this information is massive. I went to something, I can't remember what it's called actually, last week, and Sharon De Leonardis, you remember Sharon?
Yes, yeah.
Have you seen her posting pre-orders of her book?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
We know the publisher. Because that's how we roll. That's how we roll. Anyway, and obviously Stephen Bailey. None of those people have been on the show before. Oh, tell a lie, Malik, because I just said that. But not for a long time. And somehow everything kind of links. I don't know how it does. It just does. It just does. As Shelley's gone to all the work of posting that information out there, guys. So do you know what? If anything resonates with you, it might be a case of you just want to reach out to Stefan because, I don't know, maybe you're in schools or maybe your child or maybe you're whatever. He'd be more than happy, I'm sure, to either signpost or if it's something that he could help with. Because sometimes we think we can handle everything on our own. He's just literally sent me a link. And do you know what? There's no shame. There's no, as a parent or as a carer or as a family member, I need help. I'd like some help. I think we think that we've got to have it all on a lock, because if there's a book, do you know what? They'd be sold out permanently. There is no book. Turn to page 23. This is what you do. Turn to page. If it worked yesterday, you're thinking it's going to work the following day. It doesn't. That's why, and you hear Shelley saying it all the time. We say it all the time. A village. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It does. It takes a village.
Even if it's just someone that's open-minded that you can just talk to, so you're not trying to work things out on your own. You might already have the answers. You might already know what you need to do, but you just do need to not just talk to yourself in these kind of situations. Because you'll just get yourself into right tease.
So we're going to go, guys. Please look after yourselves. It is, what's today? It's the 7th of October, 10th of October. Is this Mental Health Awareness Week, Shelley? or is it a day?
Well, yeah, they kind of tend to do it as a week. It's World Mental Health Day from
on the 10th.
On the 10th, yeah.
Yeah.
And there's lots of stuff that's out there now so it turns into the whole week. So you're thinking about what you're going to do, thinking about your situation, whether that be home, whether you want to sort out something for work. All big companies should actually have a mental health first aider, for instance. Some big companies do now. So they would then be putting something in place to make sure that everyone knows the procedure, just how to get in contact with someone if you need that extra bit of help.
I'm going to ask that tomorrow, actually, at work. Why is it not kind of... Yeah.
I mean,
ask the question, guys.
Yeah,
ask the question.
Quite a lot of people just think it's very Americanized, but it's actually needed everywhere. And for something just recently, if you want to think about it, with Ricky Hatton, when he's then talking about men's mental health, and how, I suppose, a bit like Stefan was then saying, like the change of you're in one sport, you're doing that in and out, it becomes the whole of your life, and then you have to change.
Yeah.
How do you get your head around that? With your mental health at work, you could just be sticking your head down, just getting on with it. I just need to get through this. And then you're going home and you're going through a whole load of new stuff. You're spending all of your time in work. If you work, you're spending more time there than anywhere else. So you should actually have something set up for like these big companies. And perhaps these big companies are saying that they've got it, but they're not actually promoting it.
Right. That's just it.
Yeah,
I'm going to do that tomorrow.
The time to ask questions. I've got some bits and pieces that I've shared out before, and there's some new stuff that's coming out. So I'm going to be sharing that out tomorrow when I'm sat here on the laptop. So you could just then screenshot it, print it off, whatever, take it into work and say, look, why aren't we doing this? Why isn't there something like this? Because every big company, an old British companies, would have social clubs of some kind, whether they've got a building that they go to.
All closed. Everything's closed now, isn't it? Everything's closed. We've got no money. We've got no this. We've got no that. But the amount of money that's ultimately spent on people in hospital, medication, carers. I can't work because I'm looking after so-and-so because such and such has happened. All of that is money, and it's a cost. And we're talking about spending X now to then potentially save millions later.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about. Right, we're going to go. I can't stop saying it. And look, me crumble's gone cold. Yes, it's rhubarb crumble. But don't worry, guys. Shelley's going, I don't believe she's doing this. I don't care. I don't care. It helps with voice training, guys. It helps with the vocal cords.
Searching to see if rhubarb is good for voice. No, I don't think so.
Probably not. No.
Good for your mental health. We're talking about that.
Isn't it? See, this helps my mental health. You need to understand.
You're doing little things that, to help.
Make me happy. All right, guys. All right. We're going to come back with a comedy act next time. So, bless you all. Thank you. She's going like, thank you for tuning in on this Tuesday night, 7th of October. And see you Thursday or see you next Tuesday.
Yes.
All right. And do you know what? Do us a favour and share some of our stuff. It'd be really nice to see it. Wouldn't it, Shell?
It would be.
Yeah. And honestly, I don't know where you're getting the content that we have on our shows and what we do. I don't know where you're getting it. You ain't getting this anywhere else. You're not. I don't care what anybody says. Sending love and light and all of that jazz. See you guys soon. Bye.